This conversation that we are going to have today is going to have talks of depression, possible talks of suicidal tendencies and stats. This is not a podcast that is condoning any of those things. We are simply giving you the numbers and the conversation to make you think. Critical thinking is how we evolve, and take that as a warning as you move into this podcast. And we are back.
We're back. I don't know where to look.
This is not an episode. I was about to go episode 45. It's not. No. It's not an episode. We are here in studio with Ricky, the founder of the Warrior Way Mindset. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Can you give us a quick blurb of what it is that you do?
Yeah, I'll break it down. I'm the author of Everything is a Choice. I've created men's groups, and I work with men across the world. I've had women's groups also, so I've worked with both men and women, but because of the need, I've transitioned straight to men right now. I do have women I still work with, but it's mostly I'm working with my guys right now. What we're also going to be doing is we've got our podcast, which is the Battlefield of Mind. So that's going really well right now. And we have other books and other things that are coming out. We build psychology programs, and we work with people on behavioral right now to help unify and grow our guys for stronger leadership. And so our guys are floundering, our guys are isolated, and that's what I'm doing right now is building the community for our warriors to be able to get stronger within themselves, to be better men themselves, for their sons, their wives, their own groups, or their own packs themselves. So that's where I'm at right now.
What was the name of your book again?
Everything is a Choice. It's the first one. I will be rewriting it, but it's on Amazon. It's all.
Is it Audible at all?
We just man, let me just tell you, we just did the thing where we recorded it all in my voice. If you've never done your own Audible book, it's a lot of work.
Is it?
I did not enjoy the process, so it's a lot of work. So yeah, but we do have it now where you can get the audio for it. I don't know if it's on Audible yet, but we just recorded it. I know on our website, I just give it for free because I just want our people to have a chance, and so you can buy it for $15 on Amazon, but I just want to give people a chance to be able to get like the tools that they need to start being successful.
Yeah. I'm real big on choice theory. Have you read that book yet?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of my jam. I believe that everything in life is a choice. And I think that even though you might have a shitty choice, you still have a choice.
There's options.
A lot of people forget that. So I see you got your notepad, and though you and I have not really discussed a whole lot of what we were going to be doing, I really just wanted to sit down and have a conversation with you, but you apparently have some things planned.
I've got a lot of stuff ready. I do a lot of writing, and so I could probably do the next 72 hours straight, and we can jump so many topics. So you kind of fire off directions you want to go, but I also have some things that's kind of fun to play with.
Okay.
So you guys let me know if you want to go hard.
Well, you are technically our guest.
Yeah.
And Southern Hospitality says that this is your home now, so let's run it, dude.
We go hard. All right. So, all right. So there's a few things I want to get into for things. And one of the things I'm going to just go right to my heart with, my next book is going to go a lot more into the grieving systems of things, of how people are going through just handling loss and things like this. We'll go this direction in a little bit. But I'm going to kind of go off of, I want to work on something with you guys. This may make the cut or may not. You guys let me know as we start working through together, because I actually require your opinions based on not only your experience, but also what you've seen.
Okay.
And let's see if we can pull some people out of hell on some things right now, especially our kids.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of things that our children, our youth, even people our age, are under massive attack, and they don't know it. So let's expose some stuff. Can I say not... I can say fucking stuff, right?
You can say whatever you want. The only thing that we can't say on YouTube is you can't say the R word. You have to say grape instead if that ever gets brought up. Any DV or SA has to be skirted around because YouTube will automatically flag the content.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And we don't want to get demonetized.
I don't know what the naughty words are. So okay.
So in the event that it happens, I'll be like, hey, we got to rephrase that, and then we'll just cut and clip and go.
I'll record with you and I'll say grapes.
Yeah.
And then you can just take that cut and just drop it in. All right. So
before we get into this, I am very excited to have you on the show.
I'm excited to be here. I really appreciate you guys for having me here. This is very cool. Wow. All right. I'm going to go into some stuff where I want both of your opinions on things, and let's see if we can start pulling some kids out of some stuff that's the obvious thing that's going on. Now, I don't know how plugged in you guys are to this. Have you noticed that around the 30s and down, the boys are not playing anymore? And what I mean is they stopped asking girls out. I have 3 girls. I got 3 teenage girls at home, and even in their schools and everything, boys are no longer shooting the shot to say, would you go out with me? Even in a gentleman and respectful manner, the boys aren't playing anymore. And I also have women I'm coaching who are anywhere from like 28 into their 30s up to their 40s. And the boys aren't playing anymore. We're not asking girls out anymore. Have you guys seen any of this happening yet?
Yes.
Have you?
In our personal life?
Yeah. Well,
Not you guys.
I know that men are less likely to engage with women because of the fear of it. But I'm going to go a step further than what you said, because men don't wrestle and roughhouse and establish a hierarchy in their friendships anymore because it's frowned upon. So, and that is a way that a young man builds his confidence and learns self-worth. So men not being able to do those things, young boys not being able to roughhouse and have that back and forth, that lack of confidence would absolutely carry over into talking to a woman.
What is the reason, or what is the weapon, I guess, to say, I'm going to make it so boys don't roughhouse? What is the tool that we do to make it so that they don't do that?
I don't do that. I expect them to roughhouse, so I let it ride.
All right.
So what are we seeing in society?
Yeah.
That's-
This is something I have to, we even talked with Steve on this one too. Are you guys the normal? Would you consider yourself the average?
The average what?
Just in general, just we're the average. We are. If you went like how people are, we're the 50% line.
I don't think so.
Right. You guys would probably feel like we've done some self work.
Yeah.
We've been doing some work on ourselves. We're pushing ourselves up into the upper average area. This is not an ego thing. This is just a reality.
Right.
Like we're moving, working. We're working here. We're working here. We're not in like the regular no critical thinking masses.
Right.
Right. Okay. We may not be able to use you two as the exact baseline for average.
Right.
We agree or disagree?
Yeah, no, we can
I
agree.
agree.
Okay. So we can't use you guys as the baseline. So we'll just have to go like the large chunk, the big majority. Now, if we're going into you can't roughhouse, you're not allowed to do that. Don't wrestle with your brother. Don't do that stuff. You're bad. What's the tool I'm using here?
I would say the toxic masculinity.
Well, which is again a judgment.
Yeah.
Which is going into shame.
Okay.
You are bad for who you are.
Okay.
You're bad if you want to wrestle. You're bad if you want to roughhouse. You're bad if you do anything that I don't like. You're bad. I judge you. Judgments and shame are the weapons today.
Okay.
And we're going
I
to
agree
go
with
hard on judgments and shame. This is how people keep people in line. Judgment itself, just what judgment is an authoritarian point of view of me telling you what you should or shouldn't be based on my own subjective opinion. I make it up. I can make it up as I go along. In fact, what I make up can just be an emotion I had at the moment and say, I don't like something, but we are social creatures. We like being in a pack. This is where it's an interesting thing. I did an interview. I'm going to segue and come back. I did an interview with Dr. Dana Saperstein. He's a hypnotherapist and psychologist in California. And we did an interview together, and he said, do you think that humans, us, are we predators or are we prey animals? Which one are we?
Oh.
In today's society, the predators.
Yeah?
Um,
How are we built? Are we predators or are we prey?
Oh,
I think
just ourselves, the human
The
body.
humans.
I got to be honest. I think that we're more prey than predator because we don't have the natural self-defense mechanisms that actual predators have.
I agree with that.
My dude. We
Everything we use, we have to build.
Right.
don't have canine teeth to
Right.
rip, meat off the carcass. We don't have deadly claws, and our senses compared to animal senses are kind of lame.
Yeah.
Like my dog has got a trillion times better nose than me. Like we just don't. We're not built to be like the predators. Also, if we were predators, why do we have so much anxiety?
Right.
We're scared all the time. We're bunnies with bazookas. We're not actually the predator. And so we've had to use our brain to create tools or create stations to make it so we can control. That's our only tools that we got. Now, how are most prey animals able to stay safe? In the herd. We are social creatures. We're meant to work together. We are pack animals. So whenever you're seeing any pack animal or any herd animal, how are they safest?
Together.
In numbers.
Together. The isolated ones get picked off. And so let's go back to what are the tools these days that we're using? It's judgment and shame. I'm going to make you feel bad for who you are, which will make it so you'll go into some sort of security system. And right now, isolation is a massive part of why guys are struggling.
I agree with that.
Massive. In fact, like we'll get to the suicide talks, and we'll get into what's going on with like our guys. The numbers are just, it's like a bike ramp right now. It's crazy. So we'll get into that stuff.
Okay, before you do that, I need to disclaimer this episode knowing that conversation is coming.
Okay.
This conversation that we are going to have today is going to have talks of depression, possible talks of suicidal tendencies and stats. This is not a podcast that is condoning any of those things. We are simply giving you the numbers and the conversation to make you think. Critical thinking is how we evolve. And take that as a warning as you move into this podcast. That way I can clip that, put it at the beginning, and then we can get into our thing.
You got it. Yeah, we're here to help pull people out, not push people in.
Right.
And we're going to give hope. We're not going to make it hopeless.
Right.
All right. So with that being said, there's a big shift going into the mental health going that direction. And it's tough. It's tough for the guys out there. So who's struggling the most? The ones that are alone. The dark thoughts can swirl when you think there's no hope and you're all by yourself. So you can't roughhouse, you can't play, and you can't do anything that I don't like. Blame, shame, judgment. Judgment is how I keep you down. Now let's go back. We're social creatures. And so all somebody has to do is make a judgment, and we subconsciously start falling apart. Women, for example, have a higher I need acceptance and agreeableness than men do. It's part of the system for how the village operates. It takes a village to, raise the children. Well, that was like that. We'd go hunt and gather, and then whatever we bring back, you and the girls will all distribute and make sure everybody is well and safe and good. Well, they would also take care of each other's children and look out for each other. And if you were the pariah, you were the one who wasn't good, getting kicked out of the group was a massive deal. That's built into ladies. So when somebody goes like, oh, you're wearing those shoes to this? I don't actually even have a judgment there. It's a weird twang in my voice tone. And you're like, what's wrong with my shoes? Like we immediately would start going like, oh, this isn't working. There's something wrong. I have to change something. And even if it's not even suggested like you should wear something different than those, there's still a subconscious like, well, I have other ones and I could probably throw a different one on. And would you like that one better? It's subconscious in there to try to make sure we fit in with the pack. I want to be a part of the group. I want to stay safety in numbers. I need to have that piece in there. Well, this is getting weaponized.
Okay, I have a question for you before you move on.
Fair enough.
Do you think that cognitive bias that you're speaking on right now comes from that need to fit in or from childhood trauma? Because that sounds like something that is inherently taught. Because kids don't give a shit what they look like. We're told you can't wear your underwear on the outside of your pants. You'll get laughed at school. So like that's something that we teach our children. That's not something that they have inherently. So why do you think that is? Because those are two very different things. I guess maybe they're not.
I don't know if they are.
They're not. They're not. Yeah, they're not.
Because the societal push that comes on mom to tell you not to do what you do is why you are now shamed into being different.
Yeah, I just worked that out as
you
I was talking.
Look at that.
You saw it. I was like, no, it seems the same.
Yeah.
But you're right.
No,
okay, so no, you're right. It's going to be there, and we'll get into the influences of men and women. We can get into that too, because like there is a thing that makes it so like the shame stack compounds also to make it so who do we take our cues from? We can go there, but like where does it come from? Does it come from the parents and stuff? Of course. Who influences parents? It's going to be your friend groups and the things that you're around or what you've been exposed to or experiences. So you're right. Here we go into now, like what is good, what is bad, what is wrong, what is right, who's what, who's not. Now, let's go into the stuff for our kids today. Let's go into what's going on, why boys aren't asking girls out, what's going on with the girls, and why these systems are there. Now, again, overarching, not us, overarching just the societal setup. When it comes to who keeps people in check, if we go back into, let's just start off with the most obvious things, promiscuity. Like, girls today can get a lot of attention really, really fast, really, really easy. This used to not be good behavior. This used to be shamed. This used to be shunned. This used to be like, oh, she's a slut, or oh, she's doing this behavior. That's, look at her, who she thinks she is. What are some of the things that were judged badly? Like if you were to have sexy pics or send videos, that would be like, ooh, that's not good. You shouldn't do that. What about sleeping around with a lot of guys? Ooh, that's not good. Let's go back 40s, 50s, 30s. Let's go back, like racking up your body count. That's not good, Cheryl. Like we're gonna shame that, And then we go into dressing slutty, how makeup was worn, or coming in and being the center of attention for all the guys. And girls don't like that kind of competition. Like I want to win, but I don't want to compete. And so, who would be the most likely to put all of this shame on other girls to keep them in check? Who would be the one like, oh, you shouldn't do that, or oh, you shouldn't dress this way, or oh, you're not supposed to do that, or oh, who does she think she is? Who's most likely to be the ones who keep the girls in check, like before modern times here?
I would say other women normally, or mothers.
I would say mothers.
I would say that would be their role.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the point. You're supposed to be teaching your children the same moral values that you have.
But also,
I would say fathers too.
You think so?
Yes. Knowing I didn't have a father growing up present in the home. So not having my father present, there was a lack of understanding of what was expected of a high quality man.
or how to treat one.
Or how to treat one, correct.
You wouldn't know. 'Cause
Right.
You've never seen it done.
Yeah.
And most women, even, my Andrea, her dad left when she was 6. So how do you respect a man, or how do you treat a man, even if you had a good one? Like, I've never seen it done before. I don't know. And so we just kind of wing it. And it's all usually based on wounds or stuff that really, I didn't have that. And so I don't want to be treated that way. And so you start building a system on insecurity instead of I understand how that's done. So that's a totally different thing. But yeah, the dads should be able to put these values in there. But you also got to remember during this time, what were the dads doing?
They're working.
Yeah.
Well, they were working, but there's also these speakeasies, and you can go out and
okay.
There was the prostitution was still there. They would still go out and have the cigar bars and be the kings of the universe. If in the upper echelon, most guys were just coal miners or working their ass off industrial. So, you got different things where you're like, okay, those are there, but we got to also go into all right, well, if we got all these things that girls would be suppressing girls, that's what it would be, shaming her, oh, you're being a slut, or don't do that, kicking her out of the group, so she's not allowed to be part of the group, she's exiled. That would be a big issue for her. Remember, isolation is a weapon here. If she's out of the group, she's vulnerable, she's easy target, and then they would go into reputation demolition to get rid of them.
Yeah, we still see that in school.
Yeah.
Correct. It's still a weapon. It's still there. We'll get to how it's used today.
Okay.
But we're just looking at what are the pieces that are there. What are the weapons that were used, and how do they do it? Women would use reputation demolition to make it so they could control how other people would do. The judgments and the shame. The judgments and the shame. I'm going to talk behind their back. The gossip. I'm going to ruin who you are as a person.
In the public view.
Yep. So that way you do what I want you to do.
You've actually talked about that on a couple of podcasts.
Yeah.
So we're there. We're agreeing. That's happening.
Yeah.
That's a thing. I'm not judging. It's that happens.
Sky's blue. That happens.
That happens.
Yeah.
So we're there, right? All right, let's go on with the boys now. The boys, how do we know if we're attracted to somebody initially? What's a man system? You mean I know. What's a guy system? How do we know, she's hot?
I can't answer that the way that normal people do, because though I do physical appearance first, everything on me is based off of intelligence and the way that they carry themselves.
Sure. All right, for a guy to go, I want to ask that girl out. He can't gauge her intelligence before he talks to her.
Right, but why would he want to ask her out
Good question.
before he has that
Why
engagement?
Why would he even go I want to get to know you better?
Based off of physical attraction.
Rectamundo, shapes, and
Right,
symmetry,
which is why I
smells
said that matters, but for my attraction is based physically initially, but if
You're
everything else
talking
is there, it
relationship
doesn't matter.
versus attraction. This is different.
Okay.
Why
Explain
do I
that
enjoy
then.
it? So why do I want to be with somebody, or why do I want to have an invested relationship is different than I like that shape. So you could talk to almost any guy. I would say your ass man, your boobs man.
Right.
What do you like? We have a shape that I like those.
Right.
And so we have that attraction system. Even if you look at Google, when they said, what are the fantasies most looked up by men and most looked up by women? And for guys, it was going to be, which we'll get into, it's going to be shapes and it's going to be actions and movement. Corn. Listen.
Yeah.
So that's fun. All right. So if you're looking at corn, I guess you're going to see it's going to be mostly going to be like the sexual interactions.
Right.
It's going to be like I enjoy that action, that movement, that that submission, whatever it is. It's going to be like, ooh, I like watching the thing. It's very visual.
Okay.
Instant gratification, no rejection. That's what corn is. And so in this case, we've got this whole system that we like something based on sight. Well, now, what happens when a guy looks at a girl?
Instant sexualization.
Boom! You're bad. You're toxic masculinity. you're oppressing me in some way. You're already working me over. It's like, I just like shape. Hold on, I just enjoy that shape a little bit, and I wasn't even gonna talk to you. I just like, that's nice, and then like I'm gonna go on now. Like, I'm going to point out a thing, too, like just to go into the shame system that's being used, that was used on women, we're switching it to boys now. Like, and there are actual things that I would challenge my ladies that you ruin it for ladies and for your sons, is they're taking real problems, seeking attention, and then ruining something good to make it about them and hurting people who really needed it.
I'm going to need an elaboration on that. What's a scenario you can give?
Let's go with the Me Too phase.
Okay.
Me Too started with, there's some real problems out there, and people have done really, really bad things, especially to women. That's a thing, especially young girls. It's atrocious how many, like, sexual attacks are done to children, also boys, but majority, you'll see an overwhelming number of girls and a very disgusting number of girls who are like, that happened to me too. Could be an uncle, could be a friend of the family, like just young girls. This is a real thing. That's a thing. Or also get into like the frat house where the guys took turns on the sleeping girl or whatever the situation. There's monstrous things that have happened. That needs to be taken care of. I'm with you as a protector. Wrong, wrong, wrong. We would fight. That's incorrect. Who was the loudest?
The people who were, I've been catcalled.
Correctamundo.
Yeah, it was
They were
hijacked.
watching me in the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah, the girls who are out there seeking attention, getting it, and then shaming everybody for giving them to it are the front of the line going, I'm the loudest freedom fighter.
Yeah.
Look at me. All
I'm
the
the
while,
victim.
the girl who really was violated is in the back of the line going, I have just been torn apart as a human, and my voice is mouse quiet right now, and I actually need help. And where does she end up? End of the line behind the girls who got catcalled.
Yeah.
Like, that movement got messed up.
Got hijacked.
That got hijacked. When we're doing these behaviors, it's making it so good things turn into bad things. How do we make a good thing bad? So now the women who really needed help are they're silent. They can't even get up there because the catcallers are too loud. Like, dang it. Ladies, shut up and help the ones who need the help.
Right.
You're not the center of the world because somebody whistled at you today.
Where's the feminism?
Yeah, listen. Yeah, we're fighting for women, but we're not helping
We're
real
against women. Like I say all the time, I don't identify with feminism nowadays. I do not feel there's a sisterhood anymore.
There isn't.
I'm called a gender traitor and a slave because I enjoy making my husband happy.
What is being called a gender traitor and a slave?
Shame.
Shame and judgment. We're looking at the weapons. We're
Yep.
finding the weapons now.
Yeah.
Well, I'll help you guys. We'll work on armor together to see. Like, I see what that is, and I can block that. Like, we'll get in, but we're seeing the weapons.
Yeah.
You're a gender traitor. You're a slave. They're calling you names to make it so you would subconsciously want to change who you are for what they think you should be.
Or question the foundation of who I am.
Correctamundo. I have to go in and attack you to make you start having doubt, which I'll teach you how to beat also. Like, these tools are being used incorrectly because they're using them to try to manipulate and control, and there is no check for this. So the Me Too phase, what's happening the other side? There are a lot more good guys than bad guys.
I
It's just
believe
the
that.
bad guys have a killer PR campaign. Like, there's a lot less terrible dudes, but it's advertised as everywhere. They're like, I had 3 guys stalk me. And you're like, how many didn't?
Right.
Right. That's a good point.
There's way more not stalking you right now. Like, there's a lot more good guys than bad guys. But the bad guys are super loud. and very, very, very noticed. And so here's the boys who are like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be the cat call. I don't want to be that.
I don't want to be viewed as that.
I don't want to be the guy who's like, I'm not a creepy guy. I'm not the slimy guy. I'm not the one who's trying to hurt you. I don't want to be in that. I don't like it either. And so who's doing that? Well, men are bad. Men are bad because men do this. No, just a small portion of dickheads do this. Like, that's not all of us. Most of us would stop that if we saw that.
So two things, because I don't want to forget what I'm going to say. You touched on the women who have been abused, little girls who have been abused, and you were saying how much that happens. The stats on young boys who are abused are skewed, and we actually don't know because young men will not come forward.
We'll not talk about it.
So that happens across the board. And I've actually read a lot of studies on that. The numbers are very high, speculative, because we don't know. The other thing that I want to touch on, you mentioned the wrestling and the roughhousing and the playing early on in this. That roughhousing and establishing hierarchy and building confidence in young men, those are the men who do those things that become protectors later in life that stop the dickheads. If we don't allow our young men to wrestle and establish that hierarchy and become confident in themselves, those dickheads are going to win because they're not going to have anybody stopping them.
There's going to become more of them, too.
Right.
Correct. But we're killing the good guys because of the bad guys,
Right.
which allows there's only going to be an option that goes into just being weak, pathetic, or useless,
Yep.
or self-indulged, or isolated, or bad. Those are like the only two choices. And now we're jumping ahead, of course. But
Right.
we're not giving a lot of options for good guys these days, which
I agree.
this is why I created one. But we'll get to that in a second.
I just thought of something real quick.
Sure.
I've seen a lot of TikToks recently of women saying that they're tired of being independent and where are all the good men and where is the good man who wants to take care of me and I can be the housewife and be the best wife I can be. Feminism has destroyed the good men. The current Me Too movement of the cat calling in. There are men in the gym who are standoffish and helping women because they're horrified of being labeled as SA.
Yesterday, I went to the gym with my buddies. My buddies came down with me to visit me. We went to the gym. There's two girls in the gym in their underwear that could have been painted on their bodies. Pretty much. Like, their outfits that they're in the gym is so skin tight, right up her butt. Like, there's no mystery on this
Right.
one. In the middle of the gym, and tell me she doesn't want the attention. You're just in the middle of testosterone city
Right.
in your underwear. And you're going to tell me, and like, you can see the guys in there that they're like, I know staring is bad, but my attraction system is visual. And this is an attractive girl in her underwear next to me doing all of these movements.
Making
And you
it
can
a point to show off her body.
and you can see the guys going like, I know I'm not supposed to look, but like, because I'm bad if I look, but I'm wired to look. And that's how we gauge attraction. Go like, I'm attracted to that. I like that, but I'm bad for liking it. So I won't talk to her. I won't try. And I feel ashamed of even being attracted to somebody. We're messing these up. You're hurting your boys because there's a lot more women out there. Now, where's the good guys? Where are the good guys? You shamed them into submission. They don't want to play anymore. You hurt your sons. You hurt your boys. They don't even want to try because it's instant rejection now. Because those guys who go up to that girl who's seeking massive attention and gets it, shames the hell out of that guy. Like, listen, I'm just trying to work out. Leave me alone.
Right.
You ever seen the videos of the guys who, like, the girl's working out on camera and the guy's just walking and sees her pretty much in her spandex up her butt and he's like, okay. And then sees a camera and goes, busted.
I have seen videos like that.
Get on their knees, hands on the head like the police just caught him. There's a shame thing that, like, I'm doing something deliberately for attention, and then I get the attention, and, like, you're bad for even giving me the attention that it's like if I put bacon on the floor in front of my dog and then hit him for wanting it.
Yep.
It's like, well, dogs love bacon, and you did put it on his area, and then you hit him for liking it. Like, what does that do?
It's psychological warfare.
Correctamundo. I made you feel ashamed for liking what you like. He didn't approach her. These guys don't have to attack her. There's no negativity. It'd be probably appreciation more than, like, a negative association to begin with. Like, oh, that looks good. Like, it's probably more a positive than a negative. Instant shame for even liking something. This is a weapon. So boys don't play.
Should also talk about how confusing it is for young men because the young men you see men of stature that do that and will succeed in actually getting the woman to talk back, where the next guy that does not meet her attraction requirements, as you put it, the shapes or whatever it is that she's into, and then is shunned, where the one guy was successful and was able to talk to her, and the next guy wasn't, based off of his appearance.
We will get to the bad boys and good guys. We'll get to that. 'Cause
Okay.
You're not crazy.
Oh, I'm aware.
We know. Like, the bad boys will get all the attention, good guys get shunned, and I fell in this category also. Being a good guy does not get the girl, but the bad boy does. Thanks, girls. You're trained guys for that, by the way. You guys picked. You let us know what you like, because being good got shut down hard. So, in any case, what we were just talking about, we're talking about the gym, we're talking about being attracted is bad, and then even noticing is bad. So now boys aren't playing. We're not playing. Boys are going to go into what? They're going to go to Korn. Not the band. Well, sometimes the band. But they're going to go to Korn, and they're going to get into, like, you know what? I need instant gratification without rejection. I want to be able to I want no rejection. I want unlimited options. I can be with a solid 10. In fact, I can be with 10 10s, all doing whatever visually stimulating things I like. There's no drama. I don't have to worry about being, like, you know, shunned or put down or bad. I don't have to argue with anybody afterwards. And this is going to give me my instant gratification without arguments, without anything that's going to happen to me negatively. Now, as a woman, guys who watch a lot of Korn, good or bad?
Bad.
Bad. So we have another judgment too. The only gratification now I'm getting is also bad. Damn it. So I can't talk to her because I'm bad. I can't even, like, have the attraction that's built into me to procreate because I'm bad. I'm bad. Everything's bad. What am I supposed to do that's good? Because everything is bad for me now. Me liking a girl, bad. Me wanting to talk to a girl, that's catcalling, bad.
Me telling her she's attractive.
Bad. Because he didn't do it the way that I
She
wanted
wanted her
him
to.
to.
Right.
And we don't know what she wants. And so what? He's got to look a certain way? All right, so guys attracted to smell, shape, sight.
Well, you are not wrong on the smell thing.
It's a thing. We're way more simple primal. We're way more animalistic. I like it. I smell it. I like it. It's good.
You know that we can smell a scent and it will bring us back to a place in time, and we will remember every fucking detail. Smell is such a big deal for men.
Correctamundo.
Yep.
We love it.
Yep.
That nostalgia is there. It's part of our sensory system. That's how I know I like that one, right? Women, this is where I need your help.
Okay.
How are women going to go, I'm attracted to a guy? There's more factors than guys. We're simpler creatures biologically because we're able to shoot our shot multiple times. Girls have to be more selective. They
Right.
can't do that. So what are some of the features that, like, women will be more attracted to a man for?
Just physically?
Well, no. This
all
is how
around?
you choose a mate. The
Okay.
hypergamy system's legit.
Okay. So, when it came to me picking out my husband, right? First, it came to physical appearance. Good hygiene, carried himself with confidence, not slouched. The way he spoke to people, there was a confidence in his speech. He is sure as what he's saying to people. There is also reputation. You know, hearing the way that he was spoke about behind closed doors when he's not around, that was also a big deal. Social media presence, the way that he interacted with women on social media. I feel like a detective.
Yeah, I
When-
was
when
gonna say,
I'm-
you clearly did some research.
Well, this is good.
I have to pause for a minute. I'm processing everything that you just said, and I'm a little bit slower than you are, so just bear with me a minute. Everything that you just said about us being told that we can't talk to women and all of that, and being bad, and the self-gratification that comes with that, and the need to procreate, and us pleasing ourselves using the methods that we have at hand because it's easier. I see all of that as weakness. And I am not able to move past that. So, like, I have to verbalize this because I do see all of that as weakness. I see a lack of security and the ability to talk to somebody because they have been judged and shamed. There's a cognitive bias there. I understand that. I don't know if I have survivor syndrome because there's a lot of things that would break a lot of people that pushes me to work harder. And I'm also aware of that.
Sure.
But I can't get over the fact that everything that you just portrayed about what men are doing, I view as less than. I view that as a weak man because they haven't done the work on themselves. They don't understand what we do.
Who do they talk to?
What do you mean?
Who should they talk to?
Us. Other men, real men, like people who have
Community.
what they want.
You know how many guys call me going, I've never had any positive male role model in my life.
I do.
And I need one.
I do, because I have the same thing. I also have a men's group, so I get it.
We're there.
I get it.
Not that easy. Not that easy. There's criteria. There's a lot of things too. Men usually also, we're stubborn. We're stubborn.
Yeah.
We are stubborn. And we're taught by society you need to be able to do it on your own. Isolation. Remember, this is a weapon. You need to be, a real man does it on his own. Real man doesn't need help. I don't need therapy. I don't need counseling. I don't need a men's group. I don't need nothing. Listen, we're taught we're supposed to just do everything on our own. This is not normal for history, by the way.
Right. And that's not normal thinking for me. I understand, like, to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and process your shit later, because there's a time to deal with your emotions and a time to man the fuck up.
Sure.
And I understand it. And without that, combat would be a very different situation.
Well, I've
right?
never been shown it, though. No mentor.
Right.
Positive male role models. I've
Right.
never had that guy.
That's-
so to say, I know to reach out, or I know to ask for help, or I know, well, no guy has ever been there for me before. How
Right.
do I know to do something I've never seen before?
So that's something new within the last 50 to 60 years.
Yeah, probably less.
I would you're probably right, because I have life lessons from the elders in my family from going fishing and hunting and having those.
Right.
You get a lot of life lessons at a fishing pole. A lot, because you're not in conflict, you're not in a stressful situations, and you're having conversations with two people, your elder, who have life experience. But with the destruction of the nuclear family and men not being present in the homes anymore, that's gone.
Correct.
Okay.
Which affected her.
It
affects all the
Oh
boys.
yeah. It affected me.
Dad wasn't around.
Yeah.
How do you know how to be like good to a man, or how a good man is? I don't know. I've
How
never
a man
seen
should
it.
treat a lady.
Have no idea.
No clue.
Wasn't done in my life. I don't know what that is. And I wasn't treated like a daughter, so I don't know what that is either. So dang it. And then guys, I didn't have a positive role model. I didn't have a guy show me how to have real integrity, how to really, show how to have dignity in what you do and be respectful to your woman and do. These guys, like, my dad didn't even come around. He doesn't spend any time with me. And he's destroyed by my mother, because like there's a lot of guys now who are he just sits on the couch. He doesn't say anything. He just watches his shows,
Yeah,
and he
they're not
doesn't
present.
interact at all. He's been broken. You broke that one. And then he's shamed for being broken, by the way.
Yeah.
So like these guys call, they're like, I never had any positive male role model. How am I supposed to be confident and secure and know what to do when I've never seen it done before? That's part of the choice theory. I can't make a decision that I don't know exists.
Right, but we do know it exists.
Seems like fairy tale world for these guys.
It's insane to me, though, because I understand that if I don't know something, I'm going to research it. We have more information on our phone than what they had to send the men to the moon in the 60s.
And we have more issues now than ever. Even let's just take it away from mental health and just go physical health. Do you think we have more diet plans and physical workout options now, or even 30, 40, 50, or 100 years ago? Do you think we have more access to information now?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Why do we have such an obesity epidemic and all of these things?
Because
that
our
we
food
know
isn't
more?
food anymore.
Right. But that's also information we can just look up to.
Right.
It's not an information issue. There's training that's not happening.
Okay.
So knowing isn't doing.
But
it's not the same.
Do you think that's a lack of want to know? Because when you
can't-
want to do something, you do
well,
the research.
You don't know. That's where the problem isn't that there is a way. The problem is I haven't been taught to look for a way. There's nobody who's supposed to show me that. The guy who was supposed to teach me fix it or figure it out or let's troubleshoot or like I'll help you work through it was never there. So the things you're talking about, most of these kids don't have it. And so by the time they get to me, they're like, I'll do anything you say, dude. I got nothing in this category. Nobody's ever shown me. No one's had my back. In fact, oftentimes talking to me is the first time I've heard anyone say, I believe in you.
The way that you don't understand the way that they can feel that way is how they feel towards the way you feel. Because they've never experienced the hardships and the life lessons that you had to go through, like the life lessons that you got from your elders in your childhood.
Right, but I didn't get many of them. Like
Right.
I've done all of this on my own.
Right.
So like I don't have all the things that you're saying. My want to be better comes from me having nothing and having to figure it the fuck out and doing it.
I think you also have seen it in others, though, like with your parents, your adoptive parents. You're able to see that in your childhood.
Yeah.
There are men who are just in a single mom abusive home sometimes.
No,
Yeah, but those men always pick a role model. That's why people like Andrew Tate are so popular.
Yeah.
Those men who have that nothingness and have that emptiness see somebody like that and goes, that's what I want to be when I grow up.
Well, it seems
As
like
jaded
success.
as that is, right.
Seems like success.
Right. It seems like success.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough, but they're grasping at straws. anything at this point. But like, there's a huge gap from the answer to the solution, and that's why it's a problem. Hustle culture is a whole new thing for boys, and it's not working. Just so you know, working 29 hours a day it's not working. It's not about work hard, because you're going to tell me, I got truck drivers that'll outwork you,
Oh yeah.
but they're not millionaires.
Right.
It's not work hard. There's something else, but the solution and the answers aren't the same. So in any case, when you say this is weakness, I don't think it's necessarily that it's meant to be weakness, because that's a judgment on us. I'm judging you as weak. It's an assessment of capability or competency or willingness.
Okay.
And they may not have those yet because no one's shown them that. But I work with guys who, I've had guys who are so bullied and beaten down that now, because they're able to be a part of a pack that's strong, they're now becoming confident, but they've never seen a strong pack before. In fact, the pack is always stronger, and that's why we build this.
Yeah.
We have to.
That makes sense.
Because they never had a pack. They're isolated like animals. And again, the pack matters. Here's a fun fact.
I'm going to add in, if they're isolated in childhood, that also makes it worse.
Yeah.
Like isolating a cub wolf, that cub's going to die.
Yeah.
It's going to struggle.
I don't, and I want to clarify, I don't see that as the weakness being a bad thing. It is. Being weak, in my opinion, is a bad thing. However, I also see that as a behavioral trait. And when you saying that, everything that you just laid out changes I guess the wording that I should have used. I don't see an excuse for those behaviors because we have the ability to grow and learn. And like me saying that that's a weakness, it's something that if you are 100 pounds, you've been you've suffered malnutrition, and you want to be strong, you have to build, you have to eat, you have to grow, you have to go to the gym, you have to be put under pressure. That's how we get strong.
Why do I need to be strong?
To survive.
To protect to
who?
lead your family.
Yeah. These boys they're being told that strong is toxic masculinity.
Right. And that's a problem.
We're using shame and judgment to make it so the reason that I would even want to protect. Remember, you've seen the Universe 25 thing, I'm sure.
Yeah.
The thing with the mice. At some point, when there is no conflict and there is no need to protect, and there is like the androgyny and like the things that make it so like you don't need to be masculine. It's actually bad to be masculine. Well, why would I protect a woman then? And why do I need to be strong? And why isn't it just about me then? And that's when the mice you saw, they called the beautiful ones.
Yeah.
The ones that just got into self-grooming and weren't procreating. They're not protecting the women anymore. It started becoming a little more, I guess it would be narcissistic. It's all about themselves only. Well, why do I need to be strong if I'm not fighting anybody and I don't need to protect anybody and I don't care about any of that? You're putting in values that don't exist for a shamed down person. Those values don't exist for them. Why would I do that? You're seeing the shift. Shame and judgment is making it so I don't need to protect. And take the feminist movement it's going too far. The pendulum's going too far. We can do things better than you anyways. No, but you can find thousands of videos. We can do everything better than
I
that.
used to be that woman.
Right. We don't want to compete. I just want to say that I'll win.
Yeah.
And this is where the thing is like, okay, well, how do you win? Look at how. Here's one for you, Chris.
I need just
He's
a second.
processing.
Yeah, there's so
He's
fucking
pondering.
lot, dude.
Fast.
and I can keep up with most of it, but I get hung up on something, and I have to work through that before I can.
Listen, we can go. That's why I have to write.
While you're processing, I want to add on real quick.
Sure.
Something that pulled me, like attraction-wise towards him, was also the way he treated me versus how he treated other people.
Right.
There was a softness in how he treated me that was only reserved and is still reserved for me.
That's cool. All right. So even the softness itself, there's
Yeah.
there's the way that he treated you. Now you weren't shaming him for this
No.
because it's not considered weakness. It would be gentlemanlike. And that gentlemanness is like, I enjoy that, right?
Right.
Now, what happens when your gentlemanness is bad? Ah, damn it.
I'm gonna need an example. Like, how can gentlemanness be viewed as bad?
Have you ever heard? All right, this is where especially it's the girls mess up the good guys, and then later.
Okay, so like
if
holding the door open.
Okay, well, let's go a little further.
Okay.
Approaching a girl, just approaching. Now you know the guys. I think there's a guy I watched a speaker who showed this like bar chart, and the bar chart would I don't have a pen strong enough for the cameras on this, but there's a bar chart, and he showed 2%. Filled it in. This 2% are those guys who just shoot their shot. What's up, girl? What's up, girl? Everybody's get your number. Just out shooting their shot. They got cool game. They're funny. They got swag, whatever, right? He's like, that's not most of the dudes. There's just a small percentage, and girls are going, that's confidence. That's how I know. Those are all the guys I've ever dated, right? Mm-hmm. And you're like, okay, well, the guys who are confident and that's the only guys you ever dated, it's because you're only picking from this 2% that shoot their shot on everybody. The vast majority, like there's like a good, let's just say 70%. Well, those guys don't do that.
They're a little bit more reserved.
So if you see the girl at Starbucks, instead of interrupting her and shoot your shot, you see she's got 3 cups of coffee. And she's like, I'm on my way in, Karen. Like he's not going to be like, hey, excuse me. Can I just stop you for a second? Can I just stop you and like start getting into your stuff? He's like, no, I don't want to interrupt her day. And she's clearly stressed and it's just bad timing. And I'm not going to do that. And then when he finally gets the damn courage to ask you out, he's going to go, hey, excuse me. Sorry to interrupt. I know that you may be busy, but I have to say, I think that you're very beautiful, and I noticed you around here, and you're watching more and more. Stop right there. I'm not interested. This guy is gentlemanly trying to take his shot, but he didn't come in with that swagger.
Right.
And so you're not confident. I'm immediately ripping you apart, and he's not good at this. Why is he not good at it? He's not the shoot his shot at everybody guy. That would be a good trait. But it's shamed right now because he's not that, I'm a baller, I'm a player, right?
That's crazy.
Hold on a second. This guy is taking his shot in a gentleman way and gets shot down what? Because he's not cool on his first approach? What about a first date? I saw a lady who did thousands of people study, and the guys had it broken down in just like 3 categories of like, don't be too crazy, at least be a little attractive, at least have like some sort of want to grow together. That's where my lines were. The girls had like 100 things and would reject a guy if his boots didn't match his belt. Like it was ridiculousness how they'll just cancel a dude. Just because he's not hardcore swagger on his first date because he's not a serial dater doesn't mean he's not keeper material.
You would think, as a woman, I would rather be approached by a man who maybe lacks that confidence because that shows me that you're not well versed in picking up women. You are actually taking your shot because you think that I might be worth something. That's wild.
Correctamundo. So wouldn't you say the guy who's just not a serial dater master at just shooting his shot on everybody would be worth a shot?
Right.
And this is why it's backwards. We're looking at superficial things. Money, power, fame, height. Like we're going into things that are like, these are just superficial things. But we're going off of what? That 6'6" rule. 6 foot, 6 pack, 6 figures. Like you get into these things that are like, these are all superficial.
There's really a 6'6".
There really is. Yeah. Listen, there really is. Yeah. There's a thing. And it's hurting young girls because they're falling for it.
So if you guys are in the chat right now, I want you to do 1 or 2. So 1, if you would rather have the gentleman approach, the less confident guy, or if you would rather have the player baller mentality approach you in terms of the way a man should talk to you initially, because I have always been the gentleman. I've never come at a girl the way that I've never done that once in my life.
Well, it sounds like you didn't have to, and I'll get to that in a second.
Okay, I would love to get to that. I have to backtrack though because I processed and I want to. You said very early on, what are we, prey or predator?
Yeah, we're back. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to tie all this in.
I love it.
Then as things went on, you said that why am I to be strong?
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm to be strong, it's because we are prey. Mm-hmm. And in order to survive, you need to have a strength. And then we have people coming now telling us that strength is toxic masculinity, and we're playing that game. Mm-hmm. We have, you can argue how old man is. We'll call it 100,000 years just for simplicity.
Whatever. Yeah.
100,000 years ingrained in our DNA that this is why we have anxiety. Shit has been trying to kill us for 100,000 years. And we have had to grow strong to defend and protect and thrive, because if not, we're going to fucking die. Mm-hmm. And now we have people trying to undo that with that. So the reason that I see weakness as a problem and why we need to be strong falls all the way back to that prey versus predator. Mm-hmm. Without that strength, you will fucking die. So like, that's my answer to that. I had to really work through that.
I love it, man. You're doing great. I love it. This is fantastic. There's also different ways to protect, though, and this is why it gets interesting. Let's play a fun one. why do zebras have stripes the way they do? That is a terrible camouflage in like the grasslands. There's a freaking zebra right there. You can see it
Right.
a freaking mile away. Nothing here looks like that zebra. Like, it's not hiding.
Can I answer?
Yeah.
Is it because their predators are colorblind?
No. Good guess. Good guess, though. Like, it's not necessarily it. Here's what happened. When they were studying zebras, the hardest thing about studying zebras is like, okay, that zebra just did that thing. Which zebra was I just looking at? Oh, crap. I think it's that one. All right, they did the thing there. Which one is it?
It's a different type of camouflage.
It's because in the group, you can't tell which one is which because the group itself is the camouflage. So what they started doing is going, I need to make sure I'm studying the right one. So they would put a big red paint dot on the back of the zebra. And every time they put the paint dot on the zebra, that zebra got killed. You know why? It's hard for the lions to coordinate an attack if we can't get the right one together.
Oh, that makes sense.
And so, like, that one right there, they're like, which one? That one? They're like, no, not that one, this one. They're on the wrong one. And they're miscoordinating because they're going for the wrong ones.
Right.
But you put the red dot on there, they're like, get the one with the red dot. We're all on the same one now. The pack itself is the camouflage because it's hard to coordinate because I can't keep a track of which one it is. We can do that too. It's a different type of strength. By together, we're stronger.
I just did this at Howl-O-Scream. I would blend into the crowd to make myself more invisible so they wouldn't scare me.
See, well played.
Yep. I even told I went with our children's stepmother. And I was like, hurry up, keep pace. There's a big crowd coming. If we get lost in the crowd, we'll be less likely to be seen.
Yeah, they'll get the ones at the front.
Right. Or the ones at the side.
Yeah, well
Yeah.
played. See?
Thinking like a zebra.
Zebras are also super aggressive animals. That's why we haven't what's the word?
Domesticated?
Domesticated them, right?
Why we don't ride zebras?
We can't ride them. They're super fucking aggressive animals.
Well, fair enough. Everything wants to eat them where they're at.
Yeah,
Right.
Well,
They're the food.
yeah. I mean, horse meat was something that was eaten for a very long time. It was, again, this is one of those things that within the last 200 years is no longer normalized.
Well, correct, Amando. All right, so prey, being afraid, we'll get to fear too. We can talk into that stuff. But like if we're a prey animal, we need to be strong together. Shame, judgment, exile, ridicule, rejection, would demolish their reputations. These are the weapons today to make it so people are no longer playing. Now, at this stage, it's hurting the boys. At this stage, it hurts the boys. Later on, who does it hurt?
The women.
The women. Women lose in this one. You're going to destroy yourselves.
No, I believe it. I'm seeing it now. Women in their late 30s, early 40s coming out and saying there are absolutely no men left.
No. Well, there are.
Well,
they just don't want to play because you
right.
ruined them all.
Right.
Especially in their age range, because a big thing they're commenting on, my beauty's gone. Like, I have done all this work on myself now. I've come out of my promiscuity, but I've healed, and now they're chasing all of the younger women who are some of them are recognizing patterns of behaviors leading to outcomes later in life.
So it's really funny. What was their value on when they had beauty? Their beauty.
Yeah.
I want you to like me for how I look. And they put a lot in makeup industry, all that stuff. There's a plastic surgery. There's a lot of push on burden of beauty for women. And it always has been. But it's really dominant. And if your value and your worth is based on your looks, and then your worth starts to go down because it's a depreciating asset, you created a system to say value and worth is based on beauty. And now that you're actually doing what I taught you to do, and I'm not it, I hate this system.
Yeah.
Women are beating themselves. They taught boys that my beauty is how you should judge me. I know that how sight, smell, and shapes is how you like, so I can control that to make it so I have the illusion of more options, so I have more attention. That's what I like. And then once that starts to go down, I want somebody to pay a premium now for the version of it that's no longer what I used to use to get attention or give it away for free.
Oh, man. So this might be a really shitty analogy, but I'm going to say it anyway. So they're looking for brand new car prices on a used vehicle.
A vehicle that was just driven across the country for free by guys who just they drive it like they stole it.
That is how we drive rental cars, ladies.
Yeah. We drive
So
them.
just know that if you are treating your body like a rental car instead of a new luxury vehicle, you kind of got what you deserved.
I've seen this man take a luxury SUV up a mountain in Tennessee.
Oh, I give zero fucks.
Yeah.
I've taken Jaguars off road.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
It's a rental. I have insurance.
Drive it like I stole it.
Yes. Yep.
And that's what we do when a girl gives it away for free. But then later, after she's like, this is where it gets into the women judging women, sexy pics, sleep around, dress slutty, the hot girl summer, body counts raised up. Like we'll get into the OnlyFans and things like this. We'll get into it because there's an actual need for it that actually eats itself. And so we'll get into how women are also hurting themselves with this too. Women lose later. You guys are going to kick your own ass.
Well, society is going to lose the most because as people, this is going to stop men from procreating. The family's dying. Like this is going to end up destroying the population, and it's going to remove fighting age males from things. It's going to destroy us.
It'll take a big chunk.
Yeah.
Majority, for sure. You're not wrong. That is, but there's hope still. So we'll get to the hope part. But no, right now with the women losing and them shooting themselves in the foot, like the promiscuity and stuff like this starts to have a price tag, and then unfortunately, it actually does now. Like, what if you knew a girl even in high school or school, if she sent a picture to a boyfriend that was a sexy picture, and then that just got sent around to everybody. Oh my god!
Oh, morning of it could happen on a Tuesday, and by Wednesday, the whole school, including the staff, knows about it.
The shame and the embarrassment and the ridicule, and like you are now, everyone knows.
Yeah.
Like you just got your stuff thrown out there, and that's terrible. Don't you hurt that girl? The trauma, the damage. Oh no, really, really bad, right?
There was a girl, I'm going to tell a little anecdote. When I was in high school, this girl came to our school. It was her third high school that year because of something that got leaked that she sent to, I believe it was a boyfriend or like an ex-boyfriend used it against her. We knew about it when she was still at her second school.
Damn. Her reputation follows.
Yeah.
Or proceeds.
It proceeded. Yeah.
We knew about you before. Now, how is she treated? The boys who can smell, they can smell the blood in the water. I know this one will do some racy stuff.
Yeah.
So those boys will circle.
Yeah.
Like
a shark.
They'll circle. But the girls, come on into our group. Probably not.
No, there was a lot of don't want to be associated. I don't want to be viewed that way.
Reputation demolition.
Yeah.
She's got to figure out how to navigate this because what was she doing? A boy said, "I'll love you if." We use these things as a weapon. Love becomes a weapon.
She was a teenager.
She's a kid. Doesn't know. Listen, I can get into this one. We got 3 teenage girls. I can play the game.
Yeah.
We know what's out there. This is why I'm talking about this. Is it has to be exposed. We have to expose what is the weapon here. Let's get some armor for this and figure out how to make it so our kids have a damn chance so we don't end up in a population that eats itself. Like we have to. It's the only damn chance we got here. We got to look at this. All right. Now, we've got this whole thing with suppression leads to expression. So women were supposed to suppress themselves down. Otherwise, what happened to that girl is what happens to everybody. We had to suppress. You don't want to be high body count. You don't want to dress slutty. You don't want to get too much attention. You don't want to send your pictures and videos out. And even looking. Guys, it's bad to look. It's bad to even notice. You're bad. You're bad. You're bad. You're bad. Unless you're subscribed. And then it's okay.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, it's a job then.
And you wanting to get attention, well, like you're bad for a guy trying to get her attention or trying to do that.
Unless you pay for it.
But if you pay for it, now you can get attention. I was watching videos on guys who are like, why is OnlyFans doing so well? Why is it doing so well? If you go on any dating site now and you try and talk to a girl, you're probably not getting a response. It's very low chance, and regular guys will get a response. He's like, but when I was on the OnlyFans thing, whenever I would send a message, he's like, I am deliberately going to do the lamest conversation I can possibly do. Hi, how's your day? He's like, lamest thing I can drop. Full response, which, just so you guys know, just so you know, I know people who work in the industry. You're not talking to them.
Nope.
Just so you know. They've got people that run the DMs. Just in case you're like, I'm paying your rent this month, you're actually paying somebody else you're DMing. Just so you know. I'm messing with someone's business now. But in any case, it's subscribed.
I need to process that.
Okay.
Andrew Tate came out and said that. There's an interview of him saying that he would train men how to do that. So while the girl was on cam, they would be on computer having conversations with these men and taking them for millions of dollars.
Lots of money.
Yeah. Yep.
There are so many broken, devastated, desperate men who are just being taken advantage of right now.
Okay, hearing what he just said and what you just said, do you understand why I had such trust issues and like the testing and wanting to know the quality of your soul before we started dating?
Yeah.
This is not like an uncommon thing. Every man, I would say probably 40 and under, has dealt with this.
Yeah. It was really trial by fire when it came to our beginnings.
Yeah, I'm going to circle
Yeah.
back because I was writing down your stuff.
Yeah.
You guys got good stuff.
It,
But in this one, remember, guys can't talk to girls, you're bad.
Yeah.
But if you're subscribed, you're getting DMs back. This guy was getting DMs back, full DMs.
But it was quick, too.
Quick DMs, yeah. And so he's like, I'm going to send another really lame thing. Sent another lame thing, another response back. I'm getting the attention and interaction now that I'm not getting rejected. I'm not getting shamed. I'm not getting put down. And as long as I go through this avenue, I can not only get the sexual gratification that's invited, because now I can send a message to the girl and watch her masturbate on camera. And that's for me, at least the illusion of it's
Right.
for me. And I'm getting DMs back from this person. Now I'm not getting rejected because I'm a subscriber. And now our love has become transactional. And she doesn't even have to actually be intimate with this guy. You don't even have to ever meet.
okay. So the DMs, there is an interaction there, even though it's not by her. There's an interaction happening for him because he thinks he's speaking to her.
Correct.
He's building an actual relationship with her, and he's paying for it.
I think it's more than that, though, because that removes that isolation.
It does remove the isolation. Every need is being met minus the actual physical things happening.
Correct. All of it gets to get fulfilled. It creates a bargaining system of the rose-colored glasses of a fantasy life,
Right.
a fantasy relationship, a fantasy world, transactionally for the cost of a subscription.
I'm really uncomfortable right now. There could be men going to bed today
Yeah.
going, I can't wait to message her in the morning.
Correct. 1,000.
That happens. They're fulfilling it.
shit.
It's-
No,
the addiction's not just sexual.
I've had these guys, we had to fight this curse in our groups. This is a real thing.
Yep.
We would call it going to Vegas, that's what we called it. We don't talk about what we do there. Like, dude, you're gonna lose all your money in Vegas, though. You're gonna this is not where it works. You it's. I know that it's fun, but it's a gambling addiction, man. You're just gonna lose everything. The house wins on this one.
This is devastating for me. I didn't know this was a thing on OnlyFans. I didn't know they could have interactions like that. I thought it was just paying for videos and photos.
The game is here.
Knowing that there are young men being sucked into that with the relationship forming through the DMs.
Well, look at the
That breaks
attention
my
the
heart.
girls get. Look
Right.
at the amount of I get. They can remember now. This is an important sentence. You should write this one down, and we can just own this one. Important sentence. Most women gaslight their own introspection.
Yes.
If we chew on that all week, whenever they do something, we don't call it what it is. But whenever somebody else does something, I can call that bitch's shit out quick.
Oh, yeah. When I was in my worst mindset, I was doing the shit that I would judge people for, but I'm rationalizing it because, oh, well, my boyfriend is treating me like shit.
Everyone does that, though. You see that across the board with women. We see it in TikToks. We see it in emails. We see it with our fan base.
Comments?
Yeah, because the women who have written in emails they're all doing the exact same shit.
Yeah.
That's why when somebody writes an email and we attack the problem of the email, 900 other people benefit from it because they are living the exact same fucking thing, and it's personal to them, but it's not an attack to them. So they're able to be in the shoe of everything and dissect what they need. It's the same thing.
Our comment section is the same thing. And ladies, step up your game on this one. Our comment section, our TikTok, we're over 325,000 followers, millions of views. The comment section, 97% of the negativity is women.
Yep.
Our group, it's 50-50. We have a very rare following. It's equal, 50-50. 97% of the negativity is women in the comments.
You know, now that I think about it, it is very rare where I see a hateful comment from a man in our comments.
Yeah.
It's the white knights.
Yeah. No, it is. You're right. Because
That's the rarity is the white. They're not common either, though, but they're out there.
yeah, we get a lot of that too. So have you looked at your analytics to know like what your following base is versus what's commenting?
I honestly, I look at it, but I don't run my life off of my social media because I actually work with real men and work
Right.
with real groups. And so I go into hell and do the real work. And so when I'm working with men, we pluck the guys out of the social media circles and we give guys that. So I'll get to what we really do. But we got to first recognize what's the attack. But I'm aware of my analytics, but I don't live in them.
So for us, I'm a numbers guy. Everything is data to me. The more information I have, the more successful I'm going to be in every facet of my life.
Sure.
Knowledge is not power. Utilization of knowledge is, right? Okay. So for me, when I look at our analytics and I see that our following base is 60 to 70% men, depending on the platform, but our comment section is 90 to 95% women, and our Discord is like 95 to 98% women, and the men who are in there are silent.
Correct.
They're there just to watch because
Our guys fight.
yeah.
But keep going.
Well, ours are starting to do the same thing too.
Correct.
So, but that's important to recognize that the loudest ones are the same thing. It's the Me Too thing all over again.
And how do they do it? It's shame
Yep.
and judgment. And anytime, this is something too, ladies, you're not on the solution team if you do this. If a guy goes, I'm really hurt right now, and that really damaged me. And your first thing is going, oh yeah, well that's damaged me too. And that's happened to women for a long time. And oh yeah, well, what about
God,
me?
we hear that so fucking
You're
much, dude.
you're not in the solution team. You're actually on the problem team.
Yeah.
Because what you're doing is taking that guy and just completely removing empathy to make it about you again and calling yourself good. We gaslight our own introspection.
And I want to add on for the women who say, no, I'm just trying to relate in the moment.
That's not empathy either.
No.
Even if you're doing that, you're in the wrong.
It's invalidating.
It is 100% invalidating.
If you said like my heart is broken, I'm like, oh my God, I can relate because my heart was broken before and I had this other thing that happened and my ex did this thing and this thing. I'm now making it so I'm not empathizing.
You're
I
making
just made it
you.
about me.
yeah, you're telling a life story.
Yeah.
That's not empathy. I'm not getting into the compassion of what it is that you're going through.
Yeah.
I just took it away from you and made it about me and called it empathy. We gaslight our own things. This is a high awareness right now because this is the thing where I even asked our teenage daughter, I'm like, what do you think about this? And she's like, I think that us girls are really good at everybody else's truth, but we can't handle our own. I
Came from a
said,
teenager.
15. I was like,
I can tell you're raising her.
he's correct.
yeah.
Simplicity is genius when we get to the core of these things.
I need to write that down.
The simplicity is genius on these things. It's the piece of this thing that we have to go, where does it go off the rails? We just have to repair this one thing to make it so we can be riding together again. It's just this one part. But if we can't catch it and we call it something different, we're destined to keep doing the same mistake over and over again. I think there's a definition for that.
Yeah, it's insanity.
What? That's been around for a while?
Yeah, crazy, huh?
So we're back to, let's go back. Now, I need intimacy, and I need love, and I need compassion, and I want the sexual aspect, and I want the personal aspect, and I feel like I'm going to bed every night in a relationship, and I'm sending most of my paycheck. And these guys aren't just paying the $4.99 a month. They're sending in like, I'm paying your rent. I'll pay your phone bill. I'll buy you some stuff on Amazon.
What's the percentage of men doing that?
I don't know.
It's a high percentage.
I don't know what the percentage. You got to remember, this gets into a different thing.
Okay.
Do you know what the hypergamy pyramid is? Like how that looks. So hypergamy is how a woman like vets to choose a mate.
Yes. Okay.
So
yes.
like you got your top percentage guys, and then you got your average point, and then you got like most of the guys of 50% and under are going to be below average. That's a big damn number, by the way.
Right.
Half the guys, but you got to remember we're starting at average, which means you start getting up to your like 20% guys and up. Then you start getting to the guys who've got options. But like the guys in that, you start getting into the 20 to 50 range is like, these are the average guys. They can still pull some things. They can still make stuff happen. Once you start getting to that 50 and under, these are the guys who will take anything. Well, these guys still have to survive. They have jobs and they still do stuff. They still can produce and make money, or they may be like a computer guy or something. They still do things. But how does this guy get chosen? Especially in the system right now where women, I'll be plugging some people. There's a guy I've been talking to and I will be doing stuff with, this whole math guy. You guys have seen him plugged on your stuff too, where he showed the scale how women don't view guys as their actual value. So it's like a 1 to 10 scale, but it seems like it's 2 to 3 numbers off. So if a guy's an 8, to her, she's a 6 or a 5. You know, if a guy's a 5, he's really a 1 or a 2. And you're like, I don't think you're measuring this very well.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is where it's mixed up, where these guys who are the high value guys, which we've done videos on that too, like a high value guy is going off of the 666 rule, money, power, fame, getting into like what's a high value guy, but we're not getting into a high values guy. A guy who has values. What are some values? He's sure of himself. He's confident. He's got an aura of understanding. Like, hey, he's a good guy. He's got a good reputation. He handles himself with good hygiene. He's physical attractive. He's got social media stuff is on point. He's not out there, just blowing up everybody's stuff. He's respectful and gentlemanlike. Like he's got loyalty. He's got honor. He's got, like these are the traits that are values. He's got values. He's a hard worker. He'll sacrifice the shirt off his back for somebody. Which one of these goes into money, power, fame? We're not
a direct link, or
Well,
is
we're
that
not-
just a hypothetical?
Well, no, he literally just named off everything that you named about me and what
Right.
attracted you to me. And then, because that to me is what a high value man is.
Okay.
right.
Money is irrelevant. You can always make more money.
We're getting into high values man,
Right.
not high value man.
Okay.
So the hypergamy pyramid is being used as a weapon. It's being used that these girls can now alter themselves or change the perception of the illusion of options because I can get so much attention with the bikini picture. I now think I'm worth a 1%er or a top 10% guy.
You've talked about that a lot too.
It's there. It's not even hidden.
I would like to point out that when you have that conversation and women feel that way because they get the attention on the internet, the attention that you get on the internet and basing your value off of your body, we know that depreciates in value over time.
But who's the guys giving all the attention? The bottom 50% now have access to you.
Yeah.
You would never give this guy a shot.
Right. Well, the people that have those values don't want that anyways.
Correct. So they're getting all of this boost from the bottom guys to make them feel like they deserve a top guy.
Okay, I need to process. Hang on. That's a lot to take in.
Yes.
Got to digest it. You're a wealth of information.
This is the tip of my iceberg.
I'm very much enjoying this conversation.
We're only on shame and judgment. I've got books on all these other topics. We have gotten into fear, doubt, excuses,
man.
anxiety. I got cures for all of it.
I wish you lived closer.
Fun, right?
It is. It's a lot of fun. I love deep diving the human psyche and the why of everything that we do.
Mm-hmm.
I think in today's society, a lot of people lack just asking themselves, why do I feel this way? Why do I do this? Why do I react this way?
Why is shamed right now?
Yeah.
And this is why even I built my business around two things. One of the rules is challenge everything, and why is a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And we use the weapon to cut through our own bullshit.
Yeah.
And we have to train how to do it because why starts uncovering things that you're not able to fight. And if you're alone, hard to fight something that comes out. But if you can lock shields with me and my guys, we'll fight whatever demon comes out. I'll show you how to fight it.
Yeah.
And that's a different game.
That is a whole different game. That's like
That's what I do.
trying to
every
play
day.
soccer in a baseball game.
Yeah, yeah, all by yourself against a team.
Right.
And if I'm like, well, I'll show you how to beat that, we team up and I'll show you.
Right.
Then you can go in with confidence and start defeating generational curses or getting rid of belief systems that were never yours. It's right there, though. And this is why together we're stronger.
Right.
So this is why we have to get into these conversations and go, what's attacking our kids? What's attacking us? We have to at least know what the enemy is before I can fight it. Otherwise, I'm blindfolded and going in with no weapons. Not a good plan.
Right. Okay. So what I just processed with the women who post themselves and because they base their value on the likes that they get. Bottom 50% of men.
Validate.
Right. The
Hard
validating that they're
validation.
giving.
Absolutely.
That's part of that same cycle of the women getting offended by the men approaching them because they don't like the quality of man that's approaching them.
Correct.
But you're getting that same validation on the internet.
From the guys who you would never want to approach.
Right. So when faced with it in real life, that created the Me Too movement.
Correct, Amanda.
Holy shit.
The difference between the online and in-person thing, though, is that online they're seeing the like number or the
Right.
comment number. These women aren't checking profiles. They're getting a dopamine response from the attention they're getting, and they're perpetuating that cycle because it's feeding a need of I'm worth it.
Right.
Well, it's an attention addiction.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when they're faced with it in real life with the cat calling, because they're getting that in their comments. when they're faced with it in real life, that's when that fear comes in. They no longer feel safe because it's happening all the time while we're perpetuating it on the internet.
Well, let's take an account. You never actually broke your curses. You're just getting validation from people who don't know you. So now your mask is what gets the attention. Remember, there's a lot more curses here when it comes to who we really are, and denial is the main curse for women. Guys suppress differently, but girls protect themselves by the mask. I change how I look, so I get a certain level of attention, and they get damn good at it, too. Makeup is a real thing. It's also a 5-layer curse. I can change how I look, and we call it beauty. Well, what am I without it? Well, that's not beauty. So who I am is not beauty. I need to have beauty in order to get the attention that I want. So I need to change myself to be something else that works. And the worst thing that happens is it does. Because then you can't be you because you is bad. So let's get into just the doubt part of it. I'm not enough.
Oh, man. Hang on.
I'm not enough.
You just said that women put on makeup to feel beautiful or to present as beautiful, and the worst thing that happens is that it works.
Correct.
Holy shit. I need to write that down too.
Who do you have to be if it works?
You have to keep up that facade.
Which means you're putting on makeup. Even the word makeup is made up. It's makeup. I made it up. It's not real. It's makeup. I make it up. It's in the name. You know, and it's one of those things where like this burden of beauty is there, and you know, we'll gaslight our interest. I'm just enhancing myself.
We also use the term makeup when, like, after arguments, because we are mending what was just broken, what was just fractured.
Yeah, well, we could play with lots of words. I'll tell you, I love words. So, all right. So now we've created a mask. All right. First is you're not good enough. Let's go ahead and add some bargaining. You can be though. You could be good enough if you wear this product, or you get this exercise machine, or you take this pills, or you drink this shake, or you could be beautiful if you add this fantasy product. We could wear this makeup. Of course, you're seeing the
It's marketing.
You see it. So you're not good enough as you are.
Yeah.
You could be if you do this. You start doing this, and then what's the reality? Well, my reality is this is actually good for me, and I won't actually look at what is. I'm going to look for what I want it to be, and I'll close that off. Denial is going to be put in here now. Now I have to add denial. Let's go ahead and add in some excuses. Excuses are the best lies are 95% true. So our excuses are not all bullshit. It's got some truth in there. That's why they hold up. Don't challenge it, because you'll expose it, and then you'll catch my defense mechanism. That's fight, flight, freeze, fawn. You'll see that coming out. But if it's not challenged, excuses can now sit in. Well, denial plus excuses is justification. This means completely justify that I am actually doing something that's good for me. But I also have fear. What if they know who I really am? What if they see beneath the mask? I've seen women who won't go to the store without makeup because they'll even be ashamed at checkout, as though people know what they're supposed to look like otherwise. But they're like, I felt like they were judging me. Judgment, shame. I am not good for who I am. These are the weapons, and they're everywhere.
It's so much to process.
Yeah.
A lot of that does come down to marketing.
Correct.
It all comes down to $1.
Yeah, well, it comes down to who falls for marketing. And that gets into roles of men and roles of women, and that's a different thing, too, because they learned this a long time ago. Market to women, and the household will follow.
Yeah, well, that's because for the last 100 years, women have handled the finances. Men have worked to bring it in, and women have dictated the way it's spent. They've dictated the way it's spent.
They handled the way that the distribution works.
Right.
Men would produce, and then women would distribute. So the distribution is, well, what food do we get, and what things do we go for? Like, so the marketing became like, well, women are the ones who are going to choose how it's distributed.
Right.
So we market to the distributor. You bring in the money, and she'll decide where it goes with the money. Like, we're gonna buy Jif peanut butter. Why? Because choosy moms choose Jif.
Right.
We'll market right to moms because you want to be just like all the good moms, don't you?
Yeah. Well, you give a woman a house, she'll make it a home. It's the same thing. It's all marketing. That shit really does come down to advertising. People don't realize how much money was spent in the 19th century on marketing and advertising and understanding the way marketing works.
But they target women.
Right.
On purpose. There's a reason for it. And if you guys want to do that, we can segue off. I don't
No, we can continue.
Well, I want to just add on to that real quick. They target women because men also strive to make their women happy.
Right. Well, especially in the 19th century.
You're seeing the weapons.
Yep.
Listen. All right, we're doing it. All right. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to start with you. Have you ever seen like some Calvin Klein ad with some dick in his underwear and some like thing where like this is what a guy with his I don't know tie or his haircut or something go, I need to be that guy.
No.
No, we don't really go into that. If you saw an ad for socks, you're like, I need those socks. Do you do that?
No.
No, we don't really. The marketing doesn't really work on us like that. Guys don't work that way. In fact, even I've had a friend who goes, if we're marketing to guys, we go, this is a tool, not a toy.
Right.
We'll market it that way. This has function and use, not necessarily going to push into that like you need to be like this. We don't fall for that. We're less agreeable. We don't fall for that. Now with women, you'll just scroll Facebook and see like, Maria's got a picture with her and her family all wearing matching flannels in the pumpkin patch, all looking at the camera, and everyone's happy. Her life must be wonderful. And you're looking at your kids swinging off the rafters, and there's jelly in their hair, and you're like, I must not be a good mom. I need to be more like Marie. They're getting divorced next week. You can't see that in this photo. Mm-hmm. But like we're looking and going, I'm not good enough there. I'm not good enough here. Oh, so-and-so's husband does the dishes. Mine doesn't do the dishes. Why isn't he doing this? Starts changing expectations, starts changing things, which makes it so like now I'm comparing, and the comparison starts to show up, which is doubt starts coming in with the bargaining. But like, I'm not good enough compared to them. And if I was like them, I would be good enough. And that's how they attack women. Part of that social acceptance. You need to be more. You need to be more like this. You need to be more like this. Now, let's go back one more step. Whose opinion is the most important in the world to you?
Hers.
If she's influenced by other things, and her opinion is the only thing important to you, and she starts getting influences to say, my man's not good enough because I don't feel good enough, and that's the only opinion that matters to you, and she starts tearing you apart because I created a 2.0 Chris that doesn't exist, and you have to now argue your stance against a straw man argument that came in from an ad, a movie, a Facebook post, an online thing. Some influence made it seem like things aren't good enough and I'm not keeping up with the Joneses, and you're the reason. Well, you're not falling for these things. You don't fall for that shit. You're like, babe, no, you're the only person that matters to me. And she's like, no, obviously there's things we're missing. Who should be running that show? The person who's not influenced by everybody, or the person who is, and you're not good enough because I've seen things.
That's why men are supposed to lead the house. Also,
I'm going to interrupt.
Yeah.
I just recognized social media as part of the reason my first marriage did not work out.
Yeah. So I was going to actually, when I looked at you, I was going to say that this just solidifies that not only do women keep score in their marriages, they keep score outside of their marriages
Online,
as well.
yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We witnessed that in a restaurant.
What did you witness?
We were having dinner, and we were seated next to two women, and I overheard a conversation. I was like, I can't believe they're talking about this right now. The woman was complaining about her husband, and she pulled up text messages and showed her best friend and was just letting her best friend scroll through these messages.
And ripping her dude apart.
They were ripping him apart, and the wife was agreeing with the things that the friend was saying, like, girl, I don't even know why you're still with him. I don't know.
That ruined my entire night, by the way.
Well, don't give them that much power. Like, they don't deserve it.
It wasn't them. It was me having to process that women do that so frequently and that it's probably been done to me. It just skewed my version of reality a lot. It was a lot to process. It ruined my evening because I was deep diving.
There's a lot there. The illusion of options, that if a guy isn't doing everything that you think is good, like, let's just call it what it is. Would any woman like to be treated that way?
No.
But it's okay because gaslighting their own introspection. I'm okay because they've actually just shown, Sadia Khan was saying, like, she's noticed too, and other psychologists are coming out too, going, women are cheating more than men. They just don't call it cheating. well, he just wasn't meeting my needs. Or, you know, my friends have all agreed.
Yeah.
Friends who are all single or divorced or going through their shit all agreed.
Situationship.
This is like my alcoholic friends are telling me that, like, you know, I'm going to go to them to help quit my alcoholism. No, they're all messed up too. You're not even paying attention to where your influences are coming from. Having somebody go through all the messages just to rip somebody apart, and approval is important. Like, the three main things for women is not flashy. It's reassurance, it's approval, and it's hypergamy. Those are the three main systems for women. It's not as cool as like Louis Vuitton and Gucci and, you know, Tom Ford. It's not like that. It's going to be something where it's going to be like, I need to feel safe, secure, and all of these things. But then you want the approval. That approval system is where you're attacked right now. You're not good enough. And like the illusion of options, because these girls have DMs from all the bottom 50, think that they're supposed to be getting attention from the top guys. Top guys aren't playing.
No.
We're not going to play with that. No, you're going to get 1,000 DMs from guys that are numbers, not men, thinking that your value is higher than it is. But a guy who has his real shit together will see through that in seconds. Like, you're not actually what I'm looking for.
Nope.
Women think they're the prize. Ooh. I'm with you. Complain about the man, though. That's a mess. Ladies, you're not part of the solution team on this one. You guys want to have some fun with this? I feel like we're jumping topics so fast.
We do this.
Yeah.
We do
This is
yeah.
our podcast.
That's cool. I do it.
So, and we problem solve a lot as we're talking. That's kind of how we got successful.
Did we just become best friends?
Yeah. It's why I listen to your live streams on Saturdays instead of actually taking place, because I like to, like, I'll pause and process. And sometimes I'll set the phone down and connect it to the Bluetooth, and I'll be in here working, and that shit's loud as hell. But I'll be like, "Did you hear that?" You know, yeah.
I got one for you.
I like my thought processes being questioned, because that's how we grow.
It's exciting.
You bodybuild. You put yourself under stress. You let it heal and repair. You feed it, and it grows. Same way with your brain. Same way with your spirit. Like, so.
Yeah, we're just doing observational stuff
Yeah.
right now. We're not even going in on anything.
Yeah, but there's still value here, because there's been a couple of times I've had to stop and really like work my way through things.
Before we keep going, that's why I created the women's segment. I want to have women come onto the show to talk about their life, and I've had a lot of women tell me, you've made me recognize that it's okay to be feminine. It's okay to want to be a wife.
I need you on this one.
Okay.
What does that mean?
To be feminine?
Yeah, because it's a subjective answer, and I keep getting different ones.
So-
and the women who are preaching the loudest are the most masculine women I've ever met.
Right. For me, I feel most feminine when I am able to have grace, when I am able to have understanding minus my emotions,
Really?
when I'm able to provide a comfort even when I'm frustrated in the moment or I'm going through my own things. I can still be a peace. My modesty. I feel most feminine when I'm modestly dressed, when I feel elegant in my dressing. Yeah.
Elegance is it's a weird play on this one, because it still falls into beauty, and it gets subjective. Can you maybe help me know a little?
So
understand a little
when I
better?
mean elegance, I mean, oh man.
I do play with words a lot, so I try to.
The only thing coming to my mind is, if this doesn't make sense, I need you to tell me.
Go for it.
The only thing coming to my mind when I want to describe elegance in the term not meaning to beauty is like a comfy library. It's like slightly raining outside. There's a candle lit, maybe baked goods wafting through a scent, right? It's Beauty and the Beast ballroom, like.
We'll get into Beauty and the Beast in a second, but all right. It sounds like the way that you're speaking of elegance, it keeps feeling more like a sense of safety in yourself almost. Like I feel elegant in myself, but you're describing these like peaceful, calming things,
Yeah.
like the fire, the candle, and like the warmth, and like you're describing like more of a safety, security aspect that's fulfilled.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm trying to piece together the wording.
I don't know. I mean, that makes sense. I do certainly feel.
When I'm elegant, I do feel it's like a calming, confident, because I'm
Yeah.
okay. Like I'm not in distress, and I'm not like, it's almost like maybe it's an armor when you put your elegance together.
Yeah.
That makes it so I don't feel like I have to be maybe objectified? I'm trying to understand what it means.
Yeah, I would say that's a very good way to put that.
Okay.
Yeah, I relate to everything you just said.
Okay, so like you got your sweater
Right.
and it's meant to cover. And that cover means I feel less objectified, which means I no longer feel as vulnerable. Maybe?
There are certain instances, yes, where I will wear the cardigan specifically to cover myself because the whole back of this dress is backless.
Okay.
And my back is something my husband enjoys seeing, right? So in a very public setting, I would wear this because I don't want everybody seeing something that's more reserved for my husband.
So it is a protection. It is a like it makes it so like you, because you would then, let's just say you don't. What happens if you don't wear that? You'll get attention.
Right.
Well, I don't
Yeah.
want that attention, you know?
Yeah.
And you'll get more looks. And that more looks will be seeking for what? You know, and so if you are getting that attention, even if, let's say, Chris, fully secure, like every guy should be looking, I got a beautiful girl. Why wouldn't they? Of course they should.
He is that man.
I am.
I'm with you. You're supposed
Yeah.
to be. Like, if you're not looking at my girl, what's wrong with my girl? You know what I mean? So I'm with you, but her elegance and her reserved nature is like, I'm respectful of myself, even though like I could get the attention, I don't need it or want it, and that makes me feel safe. I'm not telling, I'm actually asking. I'm trying to piece like your opinion together so I
Yeah,
can
no, I
understand.
mean, feel like I'm deep diving myself and I'm learning new things right now.
I just
'Cause
want to know.
I've never correlated those things, right? Me being modest as an armor. And it kind of is. Because I know I get looked at, right? I don't want to exacerbate that. Is that the correct term in this
It
context?
can be. You don't want to amplify it.
Right. I don't want to specifically draw attention to certain areas of my body on top of already getting looked at.
Which is also a new level of threat also, because being a female, there is a level of threat, not only for sexual advancement, but like also safety, security itself. It's dangerous. It's like, this guy looks gorilla strong. What do you do if something like this attacks you?
Right.
You can't do anything. And so there has to be a higher level of awareness and maybe taking yourself off the radar a little bit more so less gorillas are paying attention. Like, it seems like a strong armor. It's a good armor system. I need to keep myself safe from unwanted attention.
Right.
And sometimes those show up, which is why be strong.
Motherfucker just called me a gorilla, and it's taking everything I have not to let it go to my head.
Well, did you ever see my thing about alphas as gorillas?
No.
You want to hear it? All right. Make sure I keep a pin on the feminine thing.
You got to take note because
Yeah.
I am somebody, I retain better when I read things.
Yeah.
So it is very hard for me to follow the thread in verbal conversations.
Fair enough.
It works
See
really
me
well.
writing. I have to do it too.
I'm an audible learner, which works really well when we're reading scripture because she'll read it out loud so I can retain it.
That's awesome. Good team up.
I want to touch on something though. Before you got into the elegance of everything,
Yeah.
everything that you read as feminine is the nurturer that goes back into who we are at our core as man and woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you've got more pieces. How about this? Think about more. I think you've got more to what is feminine.
Okay, yeah, I definitely need to think
But
on it.
I throw you on the spot. So, like, I'll give you a few. I'm going to stay with why you're a gorilla.
Okay.
All right, why is Chris a gorilla? So here's a cool thing about this. When they were studying gorillas in the wild at first, especially when they were first checking out what gorillas would be, we were considered the threat in the area. And so gorillas would be hyper aggressive, especially the silverback. Get away. You know, you're a threat. You're dangerous. And they're like, these are terrifying animals. And a gorilla, mad strong.
Yeah.
Insane strong.
10 times their body weight.
10 times their body weight strong, and they don't even lift, bro. Like, that's a powerful animal. Also a vegetarian. Powerful animal, right? We're not disagreeing, right? When they started watching what a real alpha gorilla does, like that, like King Kong kick-ass gorilla thing is like 2%. Like it almost never has to do that. What is he doing most of the time? The gorilla most of the time is you see the little gorillas wanting approval from the big gorilla. Look what I can do. Look what I can do. And you see him go, oh, 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 like praise the little gorillas, boost them up, build their confidence. Yes. He's encouraging. When another one is sad or whatever, you'd see him hold the sad gorilla and be like the big confident nurturer. He'll be safe for them. Like he's making sure that everybody is okay and he's building up his pack. He takes care of everybody in a nurturing, calm, strong way. The alpha gorilla builds. The alpha gorilla encourages. The alpha gorilla, it's not all about him and you all serve me. The alpha gorilla serves his pack. The alpha gorilla is the strongest. And if you want to fuck around, you'll find out.
Right.
But that's very, very rare. It's usually an adolescent that wants to talk some shit, and you got to put him in his place, and I'll show you. But it's rare, and it's rare that something comes up that's going to attack and he has to fight. The most dangerous thing to gorillas is us, But aside from that, mostly a nurturer, mostly support, mostly building up, mostly making sure everyone is okay. That is an alpha.
I agree with everything you just said.
You are 100% that.
That's an alpha.
Am I?
Yes.
Alpha
Are you
gorilla.
kidding me?
You're an alpha gorilla.
We had a full-fledged conversation with our son in the living room about how you need to start going on walks with us so you can protect us from behind and he can protect us from the front.
Yeah, I'm trying to teach my son how to be a gentleman right now.
Well, which is good, but we also have to address we had a talk about this yesterday. If you're always head on a swivel with fear, how many things in the presence do we miss?
Would you say it's from fear? I don't think being situationally aware is fear.
Please explain.
Having a general awareness of your surrounding is not necessarily a fearful thing.
What's the energy that you have when you're like, danger, 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 danger?
I don't have that, though.
How does your son know? How does he know the difference?
Of what?
Like,
Awareness
we got to be
of danger?
protecting. We got to be protecting. We got to be protecting. Protecting what, Dad? There could be bad things. There could be bad stuff. Somebody could be doing something bad. What training does he have to know the difference?
Well, we're not. I mean, I guess we're not even there yet. But for him right now, it's social structures like mom walks on the inside of the sidewalk. Mm-hmm. Why? So that in the event something happens and you catch it, you can push her out of the way, like that kind of shit. But that's not. I don't live.
It's still danger though.
Yeah, but it's being aware of the potential threat of danger. It's not looking for it constantly. I think that there's a difference between being aware and being hypervigilant.
There is. And this is where I'm asking for
Yeah.
the definition because most guys don't have the distinction.
So if we were to go to a concert, I would be hypervigilant
Now,
until I found a place that I felt safe.
what's your energy when you're hypervigilant?
How is my energy when I'm hypervigilant?
Ooh, I know that energy. Fuck around and find out. It's like putting on spiky armor. It's like ready for combat, ready at any moment.
So walking around Vegas, you would be different walking through the hotel and walking on the strip versus walking through the desert. You get rigid. Mm-hmm. I can see you're postured
Yeah. The lats get more predominant.
Yeah.
Get more forward.
I do not do that.
No, I don't. I don't mean here.
I actually have lats. ILS is not a thing.
I'm not talking about this last one, though. I'm talking about like if you're calm right now, you're
Right.
coming back. But if there's a threat, we're gonna posture forward. There's gonna be a forward like that bulldog.
What's a readiness?
Correct. And it's meant for 'cause remember, we're going to focus straight for the attack. And so you're not going to be trying to go wide and make yourself open.
Right.
I'm going to be forward and ready to block. There's a posture to it, but there's also an energy to it. We have a vibe and you can feel the vibe. You can feel if that person's a threat or you can feel that person's cool and I feel okay. And even if I was here and my vibe started shifting, you would catch my energy
Right.
before you caught my intent. And you would start going, I have to sit a little different because if I started getting real aggressive and real forward, you probably wouldn't sit as relaxed.
Right.
Your feet would probably get flat. You'd be a little bit different posture just in case. Because if you started getting this guy's wiry, this guy's losing his shit. You would change your posture to make sure you go into a correct mode. What's that energy? We're putting vibes out there. So if you're going into concert scene, who's going to get fucked up today? It's inviting. Because there's other guys there doing the same thing too. You'll find each other.
Right, but that's definitely not my energy, though.
Maybe not deliberately.
Well, I don't think that's my energy. The best way to avoid conflict is to not fucking be there.
I agree.
So
Listen,
I'm one of those people that if I perceive a threat is happening, we're leaving. I'm not looking for conflict. I'm looking to avoid it.
sure.
But that comes down to the awareness. I'm very calm with you here, and if you started posturing, my response to that would be my awareness is to put myself between you and my woman.
Correct.
So that I'm aware right now, but I'm not. I don't know. I don't know how to explain that energy thing. I've never thought about that. Where my energy is.
I know the guys who go in ready to like, don't talk to my fucking girl, like these guys, and they always end up in a fight at the concert. It's like they always find it.
Yeah.
Well, there's like an invitation there. The guys with spiky armor, it's a challenge invite. These guys always end up in a fight. And it's like, that's why I say there's a vibe there. There's a tone. There's an energy that we project for this. Now, this isn't a shame thing. This isn't like you're bad for.
No, I
It's
don't.
obviously with good intent.
Right. I don't see it that way. I'm trying to figure out where my energy is, which is why I asked her, because I think there's definitely a difference between being hypervigilant and being aware of your surroundings.
I thought you meant like what you presented physically.
That's what it's the same thing.
Yeah,
There
energy
is.
wise. Well, I know your intention, so I think I might be biased on your energy, but when we're walking around, you definitely are, like I said, rigid and postured. Like you can tell that if something happens, you're ready.
This one's prepared.
Yes. It is also that energy of, you do give off an energy of avoidance.
Yeah. Which is good. We want to.
Yeah.
Right.
We need to, and it's for safety reasons. It's a positive thing, but we have to be able to know the difference. And this is what I call, what type of armor do we have, you know? And so for like your armor of elegance, to make sure that you can stay, you know, more discreet to get less unwanted attention, we also have an armor of avoidance to make sure, like, if you fuck around, you'll find out.
Right.
But, you know, we still have that whole posture of a warrior in the garden.
Right.
Like, just because my sword isn't drawn doesn't mean I don't know how to use it.
Right.
You know, and so we still have that concept. It still has to have that energy there. But what is the reason for it?
Why did you use the sword reference?
What do you mean?
Was it okay.
I
shit.
speak warrior
My
terms
my
every
fucking
day.
brain is going, dude.
It doesn't
A
even
samurai
break, man.
doesn't draw their sword unless they honor you as a warrior enough to be worthy of doing such.
Doesn't necessarily have to be a samurai, does it?
Right, but that's why I'm asking, why did you use the sword being sheathed? Because, and then you went to warrior in a garden. I know what I'm capable of a human being. I know what I've gone through.
Right.
I don't want to go through that shit anymore. But I
Anybody
know
who
that
has
it's
knows.
fucking there if I need it.
Correct.
I think that's my energy.
Yeah, but it comes off. You know,
Okay.
even just a slight change in the uptick of tone, because now we're talking combat, and I can already see you going into
Yeah.
memories.
Yeah, I am.
And now you're going into like, oh, and you can like, I can even feel the shift in you
Yeah.
now. You're like, no, I remember that, and I don't want to do that. Like, I can feel it coming up. Well, we give that off with
Right.
subconscious. It's not like I'm trying to get you or something bad is meant to happen, but we can feel it in ourselves.
Right.
That protector will come out. And this is where, like, what kind of armor do we have? And that's why I rework my guy's armor. I'm like, the Hulk is in there. I know you can go green. I know that we're, like, he'll come out. I know he's there. Smash, smash, smash. We know. Well, how do we make sure we use that at the right time? And this is where, like, I see guys in their medieval high, like their heavy armor, cast iron, totally inefficient, built when I was 10 years old armor. Well, we need nanotech, man. If we're in a calm environment, we're calm and cool, we're doing great, and a guy comes charging in here, and we got us three in here, Steve's in here, we got us three in here. We talked about this. How many minutes does it take for you to shift over into protection mode?
Minutes? None.
How many hours
Zero.
do you need to shift?
Zero.
Zero. How many seconds?
Zero.
Less
It's
than
instant.
1 second.
Yeah,
you can
it's
turn it on.
instant.
Why do I need that armor on all day if it takes me less than a second to put it on?
Because knowing there's a threat there versus not knowing there is a threat there matters.
Being armored up, I can see the threat, and if it takes me less than a second to armor up, why do I have to be in kill mode?
Because
I'm not Jason Bourne.
yeah, right. But that's just it. I'm not in kill mode.
That's what I mean. But most guys, when we talk
Okay.
about this,
Okay.
are
Well, that's the difference then between being alert and being hypervigilant.
trained or untrained.
Okay. Okay, I get that. That makes total sense.
We're there.
Okay.
So this is, we have to break it down, because where you are as your answer may not be another guy's solution.
Right.
Like, this is where I'm at. I know the difference. They don't know the difference. They just heard the answer, but that doesn't mean I know how to solve it. So being able to try and break down, and this is why I have to work through armor training with my guys, is like, we have to rework the armor to be authentic So I know that if there's a threat, I can put it on if I need it. Because we grew up in combat. We grew up in Sparta. Yeah. We know what that is. But I'm no longer in Sparta. So now I'm around merchants and dancers and singers and blacksmiths and shirt makers, speakers and prophets. We're around all these people who like, well, what do you do for a living? And you're like, hoo, hoo, hoo. And they're like, why are we yelling? Like, there's no need for that. There is no, I don't see where the battle is. And yet you're in full armor.
Right.
It's like, I have to learn I can be in my regular mode. My soldiers are the same way in this. They're like, they come back and it's like head on a swivel. And it's like, be aware, but I don't have to be in like ready to go mode all the time, because even then something small becomes something big.
Right.
Like we'll be ready for battle on something that's simply a conversation. You know, and that's where like we have to adjust that part. This is why being the healthy alpha gorilla versus that like overly aggressive, dominant, put people down, name calling, shit talking, smash a beer can on my head and football spike and take what I want, dickhead alpha. That's not an alpha.
Right.
Because those guys don't like real alphas.
It's a show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a show.
I haven't watched the show.
No, I'm saying that is a show. It's a show of aggression. It's no different than a gorilla beating its chest.
Yeah.
It's an acknowledgement. Like, you
or
want to come and get it.
Chimpanzees
Right.
smashing branches to show how tough you are.
Right.
Like, but you don't have to do that when there's no combat. You know, this is the time for nurture and encouragement and building up and making others stronger. And this is where you see the guys thinking it's about me. Hustle culture. I got to work hard. I got to get mine. Money, power, fame. That's how I'll get mine. I talk to the guys with money, power, fame. You know what they are? Unhappy. Because it's not all money, power, fame. I know I've got millionaires and billionaires I've worked with. And they're like, man, my relationships are falling apart.
Well, they're working for the wrong reason.
No, they're working what they thought was the best reason ever. Be a provider. I can provide more than anyone else that I know now. Well, how's everything else going? I thought it would fix it, and it's not okay. There's something else to it than just having money.
That's because they view provision as financial, and that's not what provision is.
The intentions are still pure. Remember, guys are givers.
Right.
We actually love to get so we can give. This maybe goes to also how women are receivers. This is more of the feminine energy. Women are designed to receive, men are designed to give. Even that hunter-gatherer thing we talked about. I kill the deer, here's the deer, you feed everybody. Like, I give, you receive, now you distribute. That's a system that worked. Even biologically, we are givers, you're receivers. That's how we're built.
Right.
Like, that's the build. And so being able to get into like how we're supposed to operate with each other, it starts getting really muddy when like I get, and I give, and I give, and I give, and I give, and our relationship is based on finances, well, then all of her needs that she's getting met are going to be looked at getting me more stuff. I can do more. I can have more. But it's not about connection. It's not about, you know, the values that you guys are talking about. We're not doing that. We're talking about, I gave you a big house. I gave you the clothes. I gave you a car. I gave you all the things. I've given you a pool. I've given you this. I've given. And they're like, well, I just want more because all of my value comes from receiving whatever I want. It's not about sacrifice. It's not about, you know, the love languages or needs that are being unmet or service to each other. We're not talking about values. No, I get and you give, and they're going to be in a relationship of, well, then I want more. No different. That's burden of performance.
Yeah.
Burden of beauty. If you are basing all of your value on beauty and a guy who you're with is going to love you because you're beautiful, he's going to be always looking for something beautiful. And if you're with a guy because he's got money and gives you things, your relationship will be based on things, and she's always going to be looking for the next guy to give her things. And we have a superficial dynamic and wonder why the intimacy and connection is so waning.
Yeah.
It seems pretty obvious, guys. The simplicity is genius. We're missing the obvious stuff here. What are you guys together for? I'm a good provider. I hired a security team. I'm a good protector. I'm not the strongest guy in the world, so I hired a team of Navy SEALs to watch the house. I did a good job. But then you're still looked at as like, well, you're weak because, Frank's guarding the front door. You're
Right.
like, well, I did the thing. Oh. So you're a gorilla.
I'll take it.
You're a builder.
I was already
Nurturer.
happy with being called a gorilla,
Yeah,
but now with the definition, it's even better. I'm gonna have
because you
to
look
dro-
rock strong.
I'm gonna have to roll the window down and open the sunroof to drive home. This is twice this week.
Right.
Gonna have an ego. It's gonna happen.
It's good, man. It looks good on you. All right. So, well, this is also gets into, too, you see people who say, I'm selfish. I'm selfish for taking care of myself or selfish for being proud of myself. You also have to look at the type of leader you are. What do you do when you have more?
I give.
That person should have the most.
What do you mean?
You, as a giver, if I have more, that leader should be able to have the most then. Because the more that person has, the more others do okay.
Yeah. Well, that's the way it's supposed to be.
But societal now for hustle culture is I hoard.
Yeah.
You reveal. Listen, I'm going to give you another quote. This is one I live by. Epictetus, Stoic philosopher from a couple thousand years ago. His term was for a man because they spoke as a man. It was all man, but I just PC it a little bit. This is the one where it says, your circumstances do not define you. They reveal you to yourself. And if you eat that one up, you'll notice yourself hard in the way it's not what happens, but how did I handle it shows who I am. And this is why introspection, being gaslighted, is such a dangerous thing right now, is because you can't be honest with yourself on who you are, because you won't call it what it is. You'll lie to yourself to make it so you're good, but you've revealed who you really are. And this is a part of the thing, like if you have more, you give more. This man is charitable, generous. He is a good leader. He cares. He's compassionate. He's loving. That person deserves the most because he will give a better life to everyone around that man. He should have the most. But the guy who's going to try and get the most and hoard, he will step on people to get what he needs. He will put people down. He will destroy someone for victory. He will take and conquest and just demolish in his wake so he can sit on his treasure and his throne. This person gets the most, but are they really the person who should? Because they just take. And there are men who are takers. Well, the givers should have the most because it makes it so we have a functioning society here. But we have a society of takers, and they call themselves leaders. That name tag is incorrect.
It's a lot to
It
process.
really is a lot to process.
You
lot
guys
to
need
take
to
in.
take a break, or
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
You going?
I got my pee break in an hour ago. I'm golden.
all right? I want to go back. Now that we've had a little time.
Okay.
Feminine energy.
Okay.
All right, so we got the nurture thing that we threw. That's a big part of it. You've got this armor of elegance, which is it makes the beauty more beautiful, almost because there's mystique and mystery, which is something that's lacking today.
Oh boy,
which is
fucking
beautiful.
preach on it.
Which is this is where you're seeing like the promiscuity and the things like this, the lowering your value and wanting high ticket. All right, so we've got grace, which I did a 2-hour training on grace. My religious guys versus my non-religious guys were having a back and forth on this too. Healthy, by the way, Warriors Way men. We can get into the most controversial conversations. We challenge each other openly out of love.
Yeah.
We look out for each other. We have never had any conflict that has gone off the rails. Our guys, even the most polarized, can still have discord.
Yeah.
Our guys are trained, so it's possible. There's a place for our men. Grace, though, is that forgiveness? Is that an acceptance? Like, what is grace?
It is like example from our marriage. When Chris is having a very bad day, mental health day, everything is just absolutely going wrong. And I ask him a question and he might snap at me a little bit, or his tone might be a little bit shitty. I understand that he is having a hard day. He's been filling me on his day. He's on autopilot. I'm not going to hold that against him. I'm not going to throw it in his face that he's mean to me and all these other things. And I'm not going to bring it up later as a war tactic and an argument to go, oh, well, you always treat me wrong. The other day, you snapped at me when I did absolutely nothing to you. So,
Understanding.
well, I view that as having a grace.
Okay. So, and I think understanding is a good word for what that would be. And that you mentioned understanding before. So if he's having a day and he snaps,
Yeah.
like he got you. And you're like, whoa, you snapped at me. You said, I can tell your tone. This obviously goes into like, he's on autopilot. This is his default. There's something, I'm not here. I'm in something else. And like, I just autopilot gotcha,
Yeah.
but it wasn't meant for you. And you know that. That's what you're saying, right? You said, I won't take it as, was like the term that I won't take it as.
Yeah.
As though now I'm making the assessment of what it would be.
Right.
This is where it's a slippery slope for us. What is it really though? Because now I won't take it as is what I make it up it is.
So until a clarifying question is asked, it's purely my assumptions.
Correctamundo.
So in that
So
moment,
are you giving grace to him or you?
I don't know.
Yeah, it gets tricky because now I'm making up why I think you may not be okay.
Right.
And then I'm giving a grace for what I made up,
In those moments, I choose to be passive versus getting defensive.
which is a good protection system. You have to make sure I have a control of the dynamic. This is how you protect yourself. And I'll step back or I'll, pull back, which goes into, the denial aspect of, run or hide or suppress. I'll pull back. Or it can even go into surrender, which is like, I'm just not fighting. I'm out. Which is, natural protection systems. I'm okay, disengaged. Best defense not to be there.
I also think that falls into logic mind versus emotional mind.
Well, we'll have to, that's a real rabbit hole that crazy.
Because in that moment, she's logic brain thinking, I need more information before I make a snap assessment as to what's happening.
You are very, very right. This means there's a word missing, and this is something where my girls, you get your notebook ready. The thing that's missing, and all women are doing this with their partners, even if they're not calling it that, there's no empathy here. This is protection for you. The way I take it as, and I can see he's doing, so I need to step back. Most of the system is still you protecting yourself, but not any of it has come up to go, my man's not okay. Why is my guy not okay?
Well, that would be the follow-up question.
Right, which gets into first protection, and then if we go into empathy, I have to go, hey, what's wrong?
Yeah.
You have to go like, oh, did something happen? And I'm actually genuinely interested in your feelings. Us guys do not know this language. I did a survey with a couple hundred guys I've worked with, and I'm like, I'm going to ask you, do your feelings matter to you? And guys are like, yeah, my feelings matter to me. Do you feel like your feelings matter to her? And every guy was like, no. Well-being and feelings are not the same. Did I do the laundry for you? Or did I get you a sandwich? Or, did I, put your shoes by the door? Not one of those is an emotion. And so doing well-being isn't a feeling. But did you ever consider my guy's hurt right now? And there is a block, and I do believe it's part of hypergamy. I have to be safe and secure. And so if my guy's not safe and not okay, I won't be okay too. So I can't look at him that way. So you can't be too depressed and too sad. You can't be too angry or too mad. You can't be too silly and too wild, because that's not safe either for me either. So what emotions do we have? Well, no. I need him to be my rock. He's my foundation. He keeps me safe. He's my rock. That sounds awesome, but what emotions do rocks have?
An actual rock, none.
None. There are no emotions for rocks. And that's what we are supposed to be as men. So what do? We suppress. Suppress, push it down. And if it ever does come up, this is where, what about me? Like, no, babe, my heart hurts today. And they go, your heart hurts today? What about my heart?
Yep.
Well, again, I guess that we'll talk about yours then.
Yep.
That's what's happened. You can look at your comment section.
Oh, I know.
If I put up videos of guys who have been like, his life just got demolished and he's like last legging it. And they go, yeah, well, what about me though?
Yeah, that is our comment section. There is never empathy for anyone. It always becomes about me.
Especially the men don't get empathy.
Yep.
The last question for the guys, just so you know, there was actually 3 guys that said, yes, my girl gives me empathy. Just for humor's sake. 2 of them were in the honeymoon phase and they've broken up already. And the last one was in denial in his relationship and they're divorced.
Wow.
So they actually weren't getting empathy. It was just the beginning when it was the illusion of empathy. Just so you know, that makes it a 100% women are not doing empathy the way they think they are. Now, women can have empathy for babies. In fact, it's one of their greatest assets is they can know what a baby needs without a word. Absolutely have empathy. Women can have empathy for other women. Women can have empathy for a TV show character. But when it comes to their personal guy, they can have empathy even for guy friends. You could have empathy for, man, he's going through it. Your guy, it seems there's a block there. It's across the board. There's a block there. Now, is it absolute? No. It's just this survey sure didn't make it skewed enough to argue. There are women who can.
Yeah,
not absolute.
I was going to say, I think that our relationship thrives the way that it does because there is a base level of understanding that we have to be okay. Mm-hmm. Like if one of us is not okay, we are not okay, and there's not a scorekeeping between us. Like we are very. Our podcast has done a lot for us over the last year, and I've ingested over 300 books.
Yeah,
in a year.
That's awesome, man.
But we have a lot of in-depth conversations that we otherwise would have not had because of the podcast, because of the relationship shit that we deal with. And I think that it's postured us to have something that 99.9% of the population will never have.
Correct.
And she does have that empathy with me. I can wake up and be like, I'm going through it today. And she does everything that she can to make sure that I'm okay. But I also think that comes from a trauma response because of the lives that we had prior.
I'm getting emotional thinking about your hard days.
Yeah. You guys got good hearts. You guys have good hearts. And that's good. And this is like, it's one of those things where you guys have trial by fire by putting yourself in the limelight. And I can relate too. This is the same thing with money. Is fame and influence will reveal you to yourself. This is important. This is why the attention is the addiction. You reveal you to yourselves. Mm-hmm. Do you want like a tissue or something?
No, I'm good. I usually have... Oh, I have a hanky on my desk, Steve. Would you mind? Thank you.
We had fans send her handkerchiefs because she cries on every
episode.
It's not a podcast until she lets it out.
Listen, you see in my guys groups, if Rick hasn't made you cry, you haven't been in my group. Yeah. Because you find the real stuff.
Yeah.
You find the real stuff, and we're allowed to be human. You're allowed to. It's encouraged. Like, dude, be a human being. You're allowed here. Take the armor off. No, good job. Good looking out, Steve. So, like... what we're getting at, you guys have good hearts. You guys have worked on empathy. All right. So it takes work. Can it be done? It can be done, but you have trial by fire yourself by putting yourself in the limelight, which makes it so you have to grow. And even if it's a persona of we are a good relationship, well, we better fucking do that. So we have to now actually work to be that. I'm going to read as many books as I can. I'm going to work as deep as I can on myself, and I'm going to work as hard as I can to do the things that people say they can't do. Challenge accepted. You have unlocked the warriors inside of yourselves to go forward and fight to be what others say you cannot be or doesn't exist. We'll show you. And listen, getting pissed is also a good motivator. You say I can't do it? Mm-hmm. I'll show you. That's there. And you guys have revealed you to yourselves. When the light is on us, we will shine. We will not cower. We will not make excuses. We will not be bullshit. We will be legit. If you say you can't have empathy for your man, you're going to go watch me. You know, you don't know how to encourage a woman. Oh, I'll show you encouragement. You know, you don't do healthy protection. I'll make damn sure I know every damn book that does that, and I'll do it right. You know, this is where you reveal you to yourself. You know, so this is where, you know, we have to take those inventories, and I praise you guys. Good job. Praise you guys.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. Most won't even know it exists to do it because we're living under the curses of our parents and going, this is what love is supposed to be. It's all I've ever known. And you guys have challenged the generational curses to say we will break them to be better.
Yeah. Well, that falls under the twin brothers who had alcoholic parents. One grows up a drunk and one grows up successful, and the opposite of that. Right. And that was where I was because I had that horrible childhood. I didn't want to repeat that shit. Mm-hmm. So my entire life has been I don't want to experience the things that the people around me are experiencing, so I'm not going to do that.
Exactly.
But I also think that's my survivor syndrome.
I got a question for you, and this happened for me, and this happens for most. Was there a moment when you said, I'll never do that again?
It happens all the time.
I mean, like there's a turning point where the training that you had up to that point was what you've been shown to be, and you lived it until you had a rock bottom moment where you go, I'm not being that guy ever again. Was there like a massive,
man.
There had to be a big one where you go, from this point forward, I don't go this road. I'm turning this way. I don't know where it goes, but I know I'm not going to be that guy anymore.
Yeah, it's every time that I've had to face a struggle that I don't want to repeat. So yes, the answer to that is yes, absolutely yes. But it's never that simple. That's so simple the way you just worded it like that. It's not that fucking simple, dude. It's so not.
Yeah, give me it. I want to hear your perspective, please.
So I believe that God will put obstacles in your way until you learn to overcome those obstacles, and then He's going to give you a bigger obstacle, or the universe, however you want to word that.
Sure.
But when you make the same mistake over and over and over again and don't learn how to correct the problem, you're going to relive that same mistake over and over and over again. That's your purgatory.
Agreed.
Right? But for me, there has been a lot of for instances in life where I'm like, I don't want to ever do that again, or this is absolutely not the way that I want to live. I've had to start over 3 times in life. I'm 43 years old now. I don't want to fucking do that again, but I know I can.
I've done it
and
multiple times.
I've got that confidence and that air of arrogance almost, knowing that I could do it again.
How afraid are you of starting over again?
I'm not.
Exactly. I'm with you. You had to go through hard things to have that confidence.
Yeah.
But if you've never started over before, it's terrifying.
Right. Well, that comes down to building, though, right? Like that's another reason to be strong.
Sure. Let's go back to the moment, though. The moment that you I'll give you an example if you want one of my moments, just so you can see what I mean. Growing up in Sparta, we understand abuse. I was physically abused, emotionally abused, abandoned, neglected. Like both parents have left for years at a time. Like I know some shit. And I grew up in Detroit. Detroit's not a fun place. Like
Right.
people don't go like, I vacation in Detroit. We don't go there. I grew up on 8 Mile and Telegraph. It's not the fun spot. And we know exactly which roads you don't go past. We know, like this. It wasn't a nice area, and you can go visit. You're like, I feel safe. It's not one of the things you get from this place. It is
Right.
Sparta, and I can identify with not only soldiers but guys who grew up in the hood. It's war zone. They are tough, hard. They're strong, like they have to be. It's survival mindset. And when you're in Sparta, you grow up that way. Well, I grew up where, like, if you don't like it, you hit it. I've been in a lot of fights because that's what you do.
Right.
Like, that's the world. You don't even have to know them to be in a fight. It doesn't have to be like, I have beef with this guy. You were just in the wrong place and you're fighting somebody now. Like, that's how the world was. And so when you grow up in that, I remember being like from my dad, from like my house growing up, the family I have is still a very strong and hostile family. Even my family, when they go visit, where my dad's side, they're like, this is fucking madness. I'm like, welcome to Sparta. Like, this is what it's like here. And so I remember being in a car. I had to be 19. I was with my high school sweetheart. We've been together for a few years. And I remember being in the car, sitting in front of her place. And at that moment, we were arguing about something because I was a dickhead, and so I argued about everything. And I don't remember what the argument was. It was stupid. It was something so semantically stupid I couldn't recall it. But I got mad, and I punched my car window out, just boom, and just blasted the window. Now, you've seen car windows are not weak. I smashed this thing. And so she's like, oh, my God, I can't be in this situation. So she starts crying, and she gets out of the car. I get out of the car. I'm standing on top of like a pile of busted glass here, blood pouring down I punched the window, blood pouring down my arm. And here I'm watching her crying, tears hitting the ground, blood hitting the ground. My own thing is busted right now, so I have a broken car now, and I've got glass all over the place. And I go, this is the man I was trained to be. This is what I was trained to be since I was little. Everything in my life says if you don't like it, you hit it. You break things if things aren't going your way. You will dominate your way to force things to be the way you want it to be. This is Sparta. In that very moment, I was like, I never want to be this man ever again. There's a moment where I can't go back. I look in that and I go, this is not the guy I'm ever going to be. I do not want to be what you have trained me to be my whole life. I don't know what is better and I don't know what is right, but I know that this isn't it. And in that rock bottom moment, I'm not going back. I'm taking a turn. I have to start reading books. I have to start growing. I have to get new information. I have to seek other sources. I have to get a mentor. I have to find a group. I have to do something that's different than what I've been exposed to. That was my rock bottom moment. I had to, everything changed. All my choices from that moment went to a different path and different choices. That 1 second where blood hit the ground, tears hit the ground, and glasses on the ground, I was different from that moment forward. Totally different path. And that's what I mean, like, were there moments where you're like, I'm never doing this again.
So that obviously was a very pivotal point for you, but do you think that you had just that one? Because you've had to have had other moments. But that was the catalyst.
That was the main one. Of course, there's multiple moments where I go, this is not working, so I'm going to adjust. A course correction to me is different than an existential change.
Okay, so I was 25 years old. I was driving up 75. I was in a car with my ex, and I had, at the time, we weren't together. She was driving. I didn't have a vehicle. I was living on someone's couch, paying $50 a week. Was barely paying my child support. Like, I couldn't afford to pay my child support. I was in between. I was leaving the dope game because I was a dope boy for a long time. I had a nervous breakdown, mental breakdown. Not just like, oh, I'm sad. Like,
You cracked.
bro, it was fucking bad.
Right.
Humpty Dumpty. Nobody could put me back together. And it lasted for about 2 hours. And when I finally pulled myself together, I made a decision that day that my life wasn't going to continue the way that it was. But at that point, dude, I can't even talk about some of the shit that I was doing because of statutes of limitation. But I did a lot of foul shit up until my mid-20s. And that moment was before I was even 20 years old, I had held $500,000 in cash in my hand. Like, I had a life that a lot of people will never experience. And at 25 years old, I had nothing. No car, no place to live, no fucking money, no relationship with my kid. My social circle had gotten so fucking small because I couldn't trust anyone that, like, I'd had enough. I'd had enough. I've had 2 other instances like that in my life, but both times involved me almost killing myself. So, like, it's not just been one time, but that was the catalyst for me to change, because if I didn't, I would be dead by now. So
This is going to sound poetically weird, but in these moments of us going right into the darkness of the darkest parts of ourself, it's almost, I don't want to sound, overly romantic, but there's beauty in this darkness because it changed who we are. It made it so we have to come out of what that is, and we had to go into the night to wake up.
yeah,
Like I said, it sounds poetically romantic, but you had to go into the depths of yourself in the darkness where there is no light to wake up.
yeah,
And that's where we have to go right to the edge and look over and go, this is my nightmare and it is my reality.
yeah,
And we have to go, there has to be something different. This is why I also say having your brotherhood or having each other makes it so that going to that edge isn't where you walk off.
right.
And you said I had to get to the edge of suicide to be able to know myself. There is beauty there, and there's also terror there. Now, there is still hope, or you wouldn't be in this chair.
Right.
There was still hope, and this is why we have to make sure our men have hope. There is a place that exists where you can face these demons, and you don't have to fight them alone. I cannot reiterate this more. I have gone into hell. I have sat on the couch of suicide. I have sat in with addiction. I have sat with anxiety and panic attacks. I'll go into the nightmares of your depression. I'll go through every loss you've ever gone through, and I will pull you up. And then I will train you to do it so you can do it for others. You will do it for your sons. You'll do it for your daughters. You'll do it for your spouse. You'll do it for your friends, because together we are stronger.
Right.
There is a thing for unity that is missing right now for men, and you are building it,
Yep.
and I am building it, and there is a place you take your armor off to become a gorilla and not a lone wolf. There's a place where you become an actual pack leader and not just trying to survive. And you see the false narratives of I'm a Sigma male, I'm a tiger and hunt alone. Fuck yourself.
Yeah.
You're not. You're not. The pack will win. A pack of lions will wreck a tiger. The pack is stronger.
Right.
And so when you're going to the line, it's good when you got a guy there going like, I'm here at the line with you, bro. but I'm also going to help you get it back. Let's go together. And there is hope. You are not hopeless. And there is a purpose for you touching that line. And if you didn't touch the line, you wouldn't be here and I wouldn't know you.
Yep.
We had to touch the line. There's beauty in that. That's strength and that's power.
Every time that I got to that dark spot, the only thing that got me to where I am now is believing that I deserve to have what I have right now.
There's hope, bro. There is power in this, man. And this is good because you can also start going, I know what the end here looks like without question. You removed uncertainty.
Yeah.
God gives you obstacles and God gives you what you need. This doesn't mean it's what you want.
Right. Told my mom 2 days ago. She's my adopted mom.
Yeah.
Not like legal adoption. She took me in when I was homeless as a kid, but everything that I've gone through in life and all the hardships that I've suffered, I have suffered so that others don't have to.
It's the 4 stages. This is beliefs.
Okay.
We know the first one, the victim mentality. Everything happened to me. Poor me, poor me. Look what happened to me. Some people live their entire lives in this belief. We see the big advertised one. Didn't happen to you. It happened for you.
Right.
We know that one. That didn't happen to you. It happened for you. There's other ones, though. If you can work on balance within yourself, true balance, mind, heart, body, soul, if you can work on balance within yourself, you can go through your phases of acceptance for radical acceptance to get to happening. It happened to you. It happened for you. It's happening. This is the observer.
Right.
Well, that happened. Oh, man, your car just got wrecked. You're like,
Yeah.
well, that happened.
I say that a lot.
You know, but that gets to the observer.
Right.
I don't have to react. I don't have to go, my fucking life and luck is bullshit and complain and lose your mind. You can go like, well, good thing we got insurance.
Yeah.
You know, that happened. You know, like
So the fourth one?
the fourth one gets into happens through you, the creator. You start creating. The pain and the trauma and the damage and the battles you had to overcome have now made you able to overcome. And now you are worthy of teaching it. The people who are sitting there, and I have talked with PhDs, I have talked with psychologists with tons of degrees, I have talked to people who are credentialed, and they never went in. They just read the book. And then I'll sit with someone who sat in hell, and I'll go, where were you at? You're like, I was right here. I was like, I was 2 blocks over. I know where you used to live. And you go, how'd you get out? I had to go this way, this way, this way, this way. And you're like, you know the path out of hell. I had to do the same thing. I went this way, it was wrong. And then I went over to the bridge. Did you see where the bridge is out? You're like, yeah, there's a ton of fucking people over there. Yeah, Dr. So-and-so wrote a book that says the way out of anxiety or depression is you have to go over the bridge out of hell. I'm like, that bridge hasn't been there for forever. That bridge has never been up. But all the people are standing in front of the bridge going, I can't get past the bridge. It must be me. I must be the one who's wrong. I can't get past the bridge. I'm a piece of shit. I'm an idiot. The Dr. So-and-so who wrote the book Out of Hell, which is the bridge, I can't do it. I am a horrible person. I am unworthy. I can't even make it so my doctor is right and he's a doctor. They're like, that's not the way out of hell. No, you got to go through the challenge of that despair, and you have to face your own demon on fear, and then you have to go into authenticity against denial, and then you got to go across this whole like swamp that's going to pull you down, which gets right into all of your deepest, darkest distractions. Like there's a whole path you got to go through to actually know thyself strong enough to not make it so your residence is sitting in purgatory or hell. We have work to do. And some things you're going to have to learn a new skill so you can level up to get past that thing. But I'll show you the skills so we can get past it. And then once you know, the fights don't stop. The war here doesn't go away. Doubt shows up every day. Fear doesn't disappear. But you learn how to fight it. And it's beatable. It doesn't get easier. You just get stronger.
Right. That's it. So is there a fifth?
I don't know the fifth because right now you're creating.
Okay.
You are in creation, and your creation creates impact. Your creation creates like value in other people to grow. You're making it so we can have people challenge curses. I met a lady in Colorado. Just random store. Walked into a store. She says, "I know you." I said, "Yeah?" She's like, "I watched what you do, and your content got me out of an abusive, toxic relationship. Because of you, I'm no longer living in a hell that I was in." I didn't even know her.
Right.
The impact that we are able to leave behind because we had the courage to face ourselves.
How insane is that?
Yeah.
To hear that, because we hear it a lot. We
courage-
hear it a lot. It's
Courage to
fucking
look
wild.
inward. It's scary alone, though.
Right.
Together we are stronger. There's not a demon you're going to pull up that I'm going to run away from. I'm locking shields with you, and I'm like, I know this one, this doubt demon, you beat it this way. This is distractions or excuses or anger or depression. I know this one. The weak spot is here. That's how we attack this. Don't leave my side. I'll protect your right. You protect my left. Use your strength and go for that attack. And you can beat it back. But if you use the wrong thing, if you fight depression like anger, you're going to lose. It's
Right.
a different monster, different thing. Trained or untrained, that's the only types of people that we are. And so this is where it's like, let's see which ones are in there. And I'm not afraid. Open it up. Open the box. Open the closet. Where do you keep all your skeletons? Where's the dirty laundry? Open it up. Let's see what comes out. But we train first. Know thyself, know thy enemy, and then we go to battle. I see oftentimes people will go to their therapist for the first time and they go, "Let's throw you in the ring and see what you got." Like, I don't have anything. It's like, open up the Tasmanian devil and let's see what comes out. It's like, just starts destroying everything. They're like, "I don't know what to do." And they're like, "Oh shit,
Time's up.
time's up. I'll see you next week." You're like, "I have no new tools." And the thing that I had taken years to put in the box is out of the box. Ah!
Yeah.
And you're like, no. First, know yourself. What are your values, your strengths? Where do you stand as far as what's your personality type? What are your gifts that you have? How can we be authentic? What are the belief systems that guide you? What's your default program in your autopilot? Let's go in. What's your love language? What's your Enneagram? What's your Myers-Briggs? Who the heck are you? Who are you? And is it really yours, or is it stuff people put on you? Which one is it? Let's challenge it. Let's see. Let's figure you out. Who are you for real? And then once you know who you are, whether you're a barbarian or you're a mage, fight with your style. Because both are highly effective, but you can't fight the same way. Mm-hmm. Fight with your style. Once you know yourself, then you got to go into your enemies, and they're beatable. You have to understand how to grieve and get to acceptance in each part of denial, bargaining, anger, and depression. And if you're not trained, we train you. But they're connected. Connected to doubt, connected to fear, connected to distractions, and connected to, fear, distractions, excuses. They're connected. Let's just go through one that's obvious to you. Denial is the core piece where I am at the war with what is. I don't like what is, and I don't want to think about what is. And denial is your best damn friend because it's the protection system to keep you from having to go into it. I don't want to accept my reality. I gaslight my own introspection. I don't want to accept what is. Truth is subjective to me. And so since I don't like something that somebody did to me, or I don't like a pain or a trauma that I went through, since I don't like that, I need to feel good. And I hate how this makes me feel bad. I feel so ashamed and so guilty and so terrible that I don't want to feel this way, even for a second, but I don't know how to beat it. I just need to feel good. And what comes in through your positive system? Distractions. So distractions, I need to feel good even for a damn second. You know what? I'll accept numb at this point. I'll take numb. And what do we have to do? What do guys do for numbing?
Yep.
We're going to drink. Tell me a country song that doesn't have a drink in it. Like, we're drinking. I need to drink. I need to drink. Whether you're meeting the girl or the girl's left, you're at the bar. like we're drinking.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of other things that we do for distractions, a whole bunch of them. Emotional eating, shopping, corn. You get into all kinds of stuff. There's a ton of things. Medication. You can go even other directions. Attention. Fitness can become your addiction because now you become self-absorbed.
It's all escapism.
All escapism is part of your distractions. But why is denial and why is distraction so tricky? Denial is protection and distractions are pleasure.
Can you repeat that?
Denial, the denial part. Denial is protection. That's how I protect myself. That's the makeup. That's the persona. That's the energy, the aura, the confidence. Denial is protection. And that's how it masks itself. And distractions come in through pleasure. I want you to feel good, even at the cost of feeling worse later. Feel good even for a moment. If you mix denial and distractions together, it's the recipe for addiction. People want to try treating symptoms for identity. Well, I go to AA because I am Rick and I am an alcoholic. No, you're fucking not. There's something in your denial system that needs to be removed so you no longer require a distraction from it. It's not in the belief system of your identity. It's going to be in your grief system that needs to be surgically removed or fought. There's something in there that needs to be removed. And if you don't have the courage to go in there and beat it, your identity becomes your trauma. And you are your loss.
That's a clip right there. Holy shit. And I love that you said you have to either have it surgically removed or go in and fight it.
Mm-hmm. It has to go either way.
That's another reason to be strong.
You have to train here.
Right.
Because we're training. We're training here.
Yeah.
And that's just one of them. Anger connected to excuses. Bargaining is connected to fear. Denial is, or just the depression is connected to doubt. And they come in very specifically, and they also mask themselves because these are all connected also to your control system, your protection systems. Fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. They're all connected.
Why fawn?
Fawning is bargaining. Fawning is the people pleaser.
Okay, that makes sense.
Compromiser, the person who will try and mitigate the damage. If fight and flight were in a car, that'd be the gas pedal.
Okay.
Fight and flight is gas. Freeze is brake.
Right.
Fawning is both at the same time. I move toward, like if you're losing your mind and you're going to help him calm down to protect the kids. I move towards the danger to mitigate and control the danger, and I will sacrifice any part of myself so that you're okay, so that other people are okay. I'll take your emotions on as my responsibility.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I call it the negotiator style. I got a whole thing for it. You want to blow some fuckers' minds? All right, let's do it. I'm going to show you something cool.
Blowing my mind.
Listen, I got tons of this stuff. Let's go with the negotiator. Fawning. Bargaining plus fear.
Isn't the negotiator one of the 4 dramas in the Celestine Prophecy?
So the control dramas that are in the Celestine Prophecies are from Carl Jung.
Right.
The control dramas are the interrogator, the bully, the inquisitor. I guess is the same thing as the interrogator. No, the inquisitor is not. The interrogator is different than the inquisitor, and then the aloof and the pity me, poor me. Mm-hmm. Those are the 5, right? Did I nail all of them? Okay, it's been a year or 2 since I've read that, so I don't.
I'll go a little different route. What I'm doing with this is because I like Carl Jung stuff, and I also have a way that I have a thing that I love from Carl Jung that I think I improved a little, but we already circled in. We'll do that later. All right, so bargaining is connected to fear. This is where the fawning system, I've connected to this one. This is a part of coming into my next book here. This is a part of some of the stuff. Sneak peek. All right, so the reason bargaining and fear are connected is first, let's go ahead and just get into what those are. Are you guys familiar with what just bargaining is? Most people are not as familiar with this when it's under the radar all the time on people. Denial is a little easier. I just don't want to deal with what it is.
Right.
Bargaining comes in such a clever way. This is where the fantasy of what I wish something would be. And oftentimes rose-colored glasses, for example, this is a part of bargaining systems. But like if somebody they go to the extremes, let's say death. My grandpa died. And you're like, God, I'd give anything to speak to my grandfather again. God, I'll give anything I have to be able to talk to my grandfather again. I'm bargaining. This is a fantasy that isn't going to be real. There's no thing that God will say, like, well, can I get them shoes? And then you can talk to your grandpa. There's no trade that can be made, but I'm bargaining that I want to make a trade, or I'll do something to have a thing. If only I could just let her know how I feel, then she'll love me.
So bargaining's tied to hope?
Well, it can be. It's the mask to it, though.
Okay.
We'll get to it. This is where you start seeing, like, it can disguise itself as fantasy. Bargaining can be an MMO. Bargaining can be World of Warcraft. Like bargaining can go into, I live in a fantasy life. Bargaining can be LARPing. Bargaining can be, I am living something that's not real and it's better. And we do this long distance relationships. Whoa, do we know what bargaining is? Because we will see red flags and call them benefits. We'll see something that's like, oh yeah, they're just really busy because they're following their dream. Oh yeah, no, that looks like they're on a date.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't. No, it's okay because, or they're just really stressed and that's okay. We'll create justifications and excuses around why something that's a massive red flag, and all your friends are like, "That's not good, man," and you're like, "No, I got it. It's okay because." Bargaining falls into fantasy. Now, how is fantasy and bargaining connected to fear?
Why would you put that into why would you put that denial into bargaining? Like why did you correlate that? Because that's a negotiation, I guess maybe because I'm a businessman, negotiation has an outcome.
Watch.
Okay.
Listen, don't jump
Okay.
ahead.
All right.
You're pulling a me.
That's how
We're
my
on
brain
chapter
works.
2, but
like,
there's an end chapter.
Okay,
You're gonna see like, oh. All right, so that's just what bargaining is. So you can get an idea of like, I'm trying to create a fantasy of something that would be lovely if. And it sounds wonderful, right? It sounds good. These are good things. How is that like fear? The reason I'm able to create bargaining and fear is because fear comes in also through your creativity and your imagination system. This is also how anxiety works. People say I'm broken all the time because I have anxiety. You're not broken. You're fucking brilliant. You can create alternate realities in the future in all these possible scenarios, and you can add emotional attachment to things that aren't even happening because you're living through possible futures that most likely are never going to be. That's fucking incredible.
I feel really good about myself right now.
and
right?
then your body has a physiological response. Yeah.
Because you're living through all of these scenarios as though they are. You still feel the feelings of if something bad were to happen. Now, the thing that's different between bargaining and fear is that if something I'm afraid of going wrong doesn't happen, how do you feel?
Relieved.
Relief. Now I'm living in this relief system of bargaining. Wouldn't it be lovely and wonderful with the family life we could have and the white picket fence, and if they ever move here, we're going to live like, and I'm living in bargaining. Now, how does it feel when bargaining isn't real?
Ooh, devastating.
Hurts. Fear is uncomfortable, and I'm anxious and don't like how it feels when I'm in it, but I'm relieved when it's gone. And bargaining is the imagination and creation system. It makes me feel good when I'm in it, and I feel bad when it's gone. Same scale. They're just the opposite ends. And if you look at that, that means you can fight them the same way. Is this really possible? Is it real? Is it happening? Presence in the present makes it so it's going to be peaceful. It was Lao Tzu says that like anxiety is in the future, depression is in the past, peace is in the present. If you're able to go, wait a second, are you terrified right now? I'm so scared of what could happen. Stop. Look around. Do you see it happening? Like, well, no. We're in peace right now. Why are we so worried about something that isn't real? And it's the same way with bargaining, because the reality check on that one hurts, though. And people will stay in that for a long time.
It's wild hearing people say the same shit that I say, but worded differently.
Yeah.
That's why it's fun what we do.
It is. It's exciting because I'm going to leave today with new ways to communicate with people in a way that they're going to understand it. And because I would have not understood it that way. The way that I talk is the way that I understand things. But hearing you say it, I now have a new tool in the toolbox, so to speak, in terms of talking to somebody. Because I tell people all the time, when you get anxious, where you get stressed out like that, you are writing a debt, or you're writing a check for a debt you don't owe. Because it's not due yet. Like, there's not a reason to worry about that. I also tell people the rule of fives. If it doesn't matter in 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 months, 5 years, where does it fall on the spectrum of how important it is? If it's happening in 5 seconds or 5 minutes, you're under threat. If it's happening in 5 hours, 5 days, you have a whole lot of time to plan. 5 months, you got a fucking, that's a long time.
And a low probability.
Right, because you're going to course correct to avoid the obstacle that's in your path.
Correct.
And I do that checklist. Every time something that my brain wants me to react to, that's how I choose to respond, because I 5 minute. 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days.
Clever
And I
system.
do it immediately.
Yeah.
And once I can prioritize, this isn't a big deal.
Well, it's trained or untrained. You've trained yourself
Right.
to do this. This is
Right.
good. You have a system that's working. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done. How does this stuff all correlate with the negotiator? Let's go to your chapter. So if you start going into the fawning system, and I start putting a little bit more, I go a little bit further, and I do kind of correlate other pieces to this. Now, if you guys have ever seen this or have done this yourself, this is the part where both pedals at the same time move towards danger to, mitigate damage. These are the people who are people pleasing, over explainers. They have to control the conversation because that's how I got to make sure everybody's okay. That's why the over explaining is there. Oftentimes they'll answer questions with questions to deflect from specific answers. They won't answer questions. So they don't want to put themselves on radar. They wait to talk, not to listen. They don't acknowledge or understand often. They're just waiting to go so that things can be okay. They do not want things to get physical or combative. This is not an outcome that's going to work, so we're going to continue the conversation in as much control as I can to make sure that doesn't happen. They will self-compromise themselves for peace and safety. They avoid conflict and consequences. They often can be very codependent. They will do things for others to be or feel needed because they need to be needed themselves. Like they actually need the other person is what I mean. Like, so I'm doing, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? Because I need you. But I need you to feel like you need me. So, because I actually need you.
That makes sense on the bargaining.
Yes.
That ties in, because before that, none of that made sense as to why you were calling it a bargaining to
These,
me.
these are all fear.
That makes sense, though,
Bargaining. These are all fear things.
because it's an exchange.
Control and
Right.
exchange, right. And so we've got that. Let's see. They truly struggle with self-reflection because they change themselves to be whatever the other person needs. So they'll sacrifice who they are so you're okay. Part of the negotiations.
You see that a lot with people who have borderline personality disorder.
You see a lot in just about any. This is a highly used protection system. It's just not as glamorized as fight and flight.
Right. Okay.
Let's see. They will often change themselves to be for others to be happy. They struggle intensely with healthy boundaries. They do not hold boundaries for shit. The entire system is fear-based. They do not want to rock the boat, and so they'll make themselves small or hide themselves. Let's see. They may find value in helping people who need a lot of help. The more needy the person, the more attention, the more control, and the more safety they have for themselves, which makes them generally attracted to dysfunctional relationships. Like, I need somebody who needs me, and the more messed up they are, the more value I have for safety, security. They'll never leave me. Usually these are the date down. I'm going to date under my means so you never go, which is obviously, because it's dysfunctional, doesn't work.
Right.
Let's see. Their worth is based on fulfilling others' needs. External validation is needed, yet often when it is given, they won't be able to accept it because their self-worth is too low. We know that one. Yeah. That one's fun. They struggle to say no to make themselves a priority. They call it them being selfish. We've heard that one. They may feel responsible for other people's emotions. If you're getting angry, it's on me to make sure you're not. If you're to be happy, I'm the one who makes sure you're happy. They take other people's emotions on as their own. And they also have very low self-esteem and very low self-care. This is a bargaining fear system to negotiate to make sure everybody is okay. And I'll sacrifice myself in any way, shape, or form to make it so. Well, shit. And this is just one of the four combinations. One was the denial, and then denial goes into the suppression and the hiding and the runaway retreat. That goes in, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with it. That whole system, I've got this for all four of them, where you can go through the list and going, damn, that one's fucking mine. We most likely have most of these.
Right.
It's just we have our dominant go-tos.
Right. Yeah, I would say that with all of those, you would have a percentage you'd have to. because no situation calls for the same outcome every single time. So you would have to.
We have all of these tools. It's just some people that's your go-to.
Right.
You know, and for guys, generally we lean more into the anger part. For girls, they'll lean more into fawning. You know, it's more common. Doesn't say we both don't do it. It's just more common if. Pretty hardcore stuff, huh? That's just a couple of them. I got a whole book on this thing I'm writing.
Well, when it's done, I'd like to have you back on.
I will send the damn book for you. Like, so, yeah, no, we'll do that. So there's a lot of things on this. I'm seeing the patterns. I'm seeing the pieces. Now, to kind of pull all this stuff together here, and this is maybe because I know we probably got to round it out.
Is that going to be an Audible book also?
Yeah, that one I'll set up to be. So I'll actually do that one on purpose.
Yeah, we have like another, I don't know, 45 minutes before we got to wrap it up.
No worries. We can start wrapping it up now then. Let's start putting things together.
What?
When I have an episode, I do majority of that.
I know you do.
Yeah. Just so you're aware.
I
try my best. I try my best
aware.
to combat it.
Yeah.
Negotiator style.
Yeah.
For sure. There's nothing wrong. It's a protection system. It's a control system. It's how I keep control of the situation. Anger is the other one, the attack system. Then you got the retreat system, which guys we suppress until we express, which leads. Here's one for you. BPD for bipolar disorder.
Borderline personality disorder.
That maybe the one you have, right?
No, well, you called it BPD and then said bipolar. I just wanted. They're not the same thing.
They're not the same. No, you're not. They're not the same.
Okay.
Right? But I'm going to bipolar disorder, which is often this big of a range for diagnosis.
Right.
This is the most common one being thrown around. Anything from being anxious to sad or depressed, all the way to being a psychopath or sociopath is on the same scale.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, that's a huge range for diagnosis here. So it seems to be the catch-all these days.
Yeah.
All right. So here's one thing I've noticed for people when I've helped them beat the curse. It's beatable. I will fuck with all of you. It is beatable. Here's why. I've seen people who are very, very smart outsmart themselves by using their grieving system against itself. Shame and judgment and guilt are bad. So anger is bad. Sadness is bad. And I don't want to feel those. And so I'm going to suppress those down. And I'm going to use denial as acceptance. Is what it is. Oh, happens. That's what happened, right? And we're doing the right answer, but not doing the acceptance for the work. We're going right to like, is what it is, but it's not actually going through any of the phases for acceptance. You're not going through the bargaining part too, where instead of going like, oh man, if only I would have done this, and if only I could have done that, and if only I could, if only. Well, no, is what it is. We're good. But I'm not going through the things in me that makes me angry. You know, anger has 3 parts. We don't even address any part of it. Either something has been taken from you or something is lost. You have injustice or there's something that's unfair, that's not right, or an unmet need that you may not even know how to express. And that's most common in relationships is like, my needs aren't being met, but I don't even know what to tell you they are.
Right.
And like, we'll get angry in one of these categories very generally. It's like, okay, well, I haven't gone through any of that. And then you've got your sadness and your doubt and your shame and your self-talk. I skip all of that too. I'm going to suppress, push it down. I've only done acceptance as I've labeled it acceptance through denial and bargaining. Is what it is. But these other 2 start volcanoing. These other 2 go down. And I've seen people where it'll be like 6 months episode. Lose their fucking minds, and it only expresses in 2 ways. It's either going massive depression or extreme rage. You're going to explode in some way, shape, or form. And I'll tell you right now, the relationships are going to suffer because you can't flamethrower your garden and expect it to grow.
Right.
And how long does it take to destroy your garden with a flamethrower?
Seconds. I would like to point out, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but I would like to point out that we constantly tell you guys that anger is a mask. And what he just said on that third thing is that he can't figure out what the emotion is and why the needs aren't being met and be able to express it to their partner. And that's why it comes as rage. And for men, that is our go-to thing. Most men can't tell you why they're angry. They can just tell you that they're feeling a certain way about it, and they don't understand why they're feeling in order to even be able to have the conversation. And it's because we're told to suck it the fuck up.
Well, we can't cry.
Right.
Anger is how we cry.
Ooh, that's good.
Anger is how
Holy
men
shit.
cry. Anger is how men cry.
That's good. And it that fucking makes sense.
Yes.
We never correlated that.
We convert our sadness into anger because anger gives us respect and strength and looks the illusion that we have control or power.
You're not called a pussy.
Yeah.
No.
You respect the raging gorilla. Anger is how we cry, though.
There's another clip. That's a lot to process.
You're welcome.
I have never correlated that. You said something else earlier, and I didn't write it down because I was like, there's no way I'm going to forget this, and then I forgot it. So you may get a text message when I edit.
Well, thank God we record this.
Yeah, right? Right.
There's a lot of pieces to this stuff, guys. If you want, we're going to do more tomorrow, right?
What time do you fly out tomorrow?
No, I don't fly out tomorrow.
I thought you left on Friday.
I leave on Saturday morning. You got me all day tomorrow.
Then, yeah, we can do a part 2 tomorrow.
Let's do it.
All right, guys, so we're going to wrap this up. This is part 1 with Rick. Warrior Ways Mindset. You guys, I'm going to need a big lunch.
Let's do it.
Possibly a nap.
I need to meditate.
Do a big group hug.
Yeah.
Photos and all that fun stuff, and then we're gonna come back tomorrow and do this again. So part 1. Hope you guys enjoyed this. The following episode will come out next Saturday, from whatever Saturday you guys get this content. And I'm so glad you came down here.
Thank
Yeah,
you
me
for
too.
taking the
Yeah.
time.
Hey, we got a lot more to do. I got a whole book we didn't even get into. We got a lot more to go, guys. So
All right.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you.
All right, we'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye, guys.